Chapter 2287. Night Sorrow had thought about it. In the upcoming battle, no matter what kind of battle it would be a battle between top-notch cultivators in the early stages. Ordinary soldiers would not be able to interfere. If they stepped forward, they would just be sending themselves to their deaths. Now he was the commander of the battle. He had to be responsible for all the living beings in the celestial realm. After they were done with the important matters, everyone started to chat. While drinking tea, Night Sorrow took out the poison pearl that he had obtained after killing the poison jackal and killing the poison spirit. Night Sorrow, what are you doing? The heavenly concubine looked at Night Sorrow. There are some things that I don't want to do, but I have to do them. Night Sorrow sighed and said, You are the merit arch. If you kill too fiercely, you will go against the heavens and harm your own merit. The heavenly concubine frowned and said, Perhaps. However, I am not killing for the sake of killing. I am killing to stop killing. For the sake of the celestial realm's 100 races to have a stable space to develop, I am willing to do some things. I don't care about being scolded. Right or wrong, I will leave it to the heavens to judge, Night Sorrow said. He knew that the heavenly concubine understood his thoughts. He wanted to concoct poison. What are the two of you talking about? Night Sorrow, you must not do anything that harms your own merit. What is that in your hand? King Yawu asked suspiciously. The heavenly concubine was very serious. Poison. It is a strange poison. I am sure that it can harm cultivators in the tribulation of 9 emperors. As for whether it can harm Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators, I am not sure. I was poisoned the last time. If not for the fire of merit, I would have suffered greatly, Night Sorrow said. Give it to me. I will concoct it. The Grand Elder reached out to take the poison pearl. He was willing to bear some of the blame himself. He did not want Night Sorrow to bear it. The poison pearl came from me. The karma is with me. Let me do it. Night Sorrow kept the poison pearl and left. Things aren't inevitable. Good and bad can be done with a single thought. What was Night Sorrow's motive? For the sake of the living beings of the celestial realm, he sacrificed his own achievements to protect the billions of living beings in the celestial realm. This is a great kindness. As for whether it is a merit or a fault, just as Night Sorrow said, let the heavenly axiom decide. King Yawu said. After hearing King Yawu, the others didn't say anything, but they were worried, especially King Bloodlin, because he had destroyed his virtuous body. Night Sorrow took the spatial treasure and entered the space vortex. After thinking for a bit, he activated the poison pearl and began to absorb the poisonous energy. He then supplemented it with other materials to refine the poison. What he refined was the most diffuse poisonous smoke. Night Sorrow was afraid of failure when he entered the chaotic streams of space. He was afraid that the poisonous gas would leak out and cause unnecessary trouble. In 2 days, Night Sorrow refined more than 20 bottles of poisonous smoke. The energy of the poison pearl was only reduced by 1/10. Then he returned to the real world. Seeing Night Sorrow, King Bloodlin and the others looked very serious. They knew what was going to happen next, but they didn't know the consequences. Come on. Aren't they very excited to block the spatial passage? Let them try it first, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Then wait for them to attack. Don't use it directly. King Heavenly said. Waiting for them to attack is just a way to feel at ease. Xianhua sent spies to investigate. The war is already clear. Night Sorrow shook his head. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, the others didn't try to persuade him. They knew that Night Sorrow had already made up his mind. If they tried to persuade him, it would only affect his mood. Everyone, be careful and prepare for the battle. If I go in now, they might retaliate strongly. It's also possible that they will directly attack. Don't be caught off guard, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Now that they are stronger, they will do things crazily. Maybe they will really attack. King Yawu nodded. Night Sorrow's words were possible. After explaining to King Yawu and the others, Night Sorrow entered the spatial passage. He knew that it was impossible to act secretly because Xianhua and the other soul power had been locked on the spatial passage. Night Sorrow was still 10 meters away from the spatial passage. When he sensed with his doppelganger and felt that he would be discovered if he went any further, He took out the poison he named wolf smoke. Looking at the bottles of poisonous smoke in his hand, Yi Saro took a deep breath and then threw out 10 bottles. They were all aimed at the entrance of the spatial passageway and flew out from different angles. After flying for a distance, the bottles exploded and the poisonous smoke appeared. At that moment, Xianhua and the others realized that something was wrong. They wrapped the poisonous smoke with their energy. Naturally, they could distinguish the difference between the new energy and the original energy. After being wrapped by the energy, the poison of the wolf smoke followed the energy and invaded their bodies. Cut off the energy. You can't wrap it. Cut the void and banish the energy to the void. Xianhua shouted after cutting off the energy he released. Hearing Xianhua's words, Night Sorrow's doppelganger's expression changed. Cut the void? Then he was in danger of being exposed. Night Sorrow's body flashed rapidly. In an instant he was thousands of miles away. Then he entered the clear sky pagoda and shrunk it again. He didn't want to be exposed. Fortunately, his doppelganger was using the clear sky pagoda, while his main body was using the 8-dragon cauldron. The clear sky pagoda was stronger in this aspect. Xianhua and the others reacted quickly, but they still underestimated the power of the wolf smoke. The few people who used energy to wrap the wolf smoke were invaded by the energy and collapsed instantly. The others used energy attacks to cut the void and banish the wolf smoke. However, the wolf smoke spread very quickly. They couldn't completely banish it. With the impact of the energy, it spread in all directions. DL Original Version of Starter 3 Domain Defense eroded, dead. Precept Domain eroded, severely damaged. Persevering was only temporary. Hor, take everyone and retreat. Xiancheng, we will monitor this place. Be careful to avoid the poisonous smoke. Xianhua didn't give the order to attack, because he didn't dare. The celestial realm had already attacked, and he wasn't confident in fighting. Hor retreated with her people. Only Xianhua and Xiancheng were left at the scene. Their bodies were constantly flashing, and their sleeves were constantly shaking. Senior brother, what kind of poison is this? Why is it so overbearing? Xiancheng asked Xianhua with a gloomy expression. I don't know. I've never heard of any poison that is so overbearing. After we enter, I will kill them all. Xianhua's face was filled with murderous intent. At this moment, the area near the spatial passageway was filled with corpses. Other than the cultivators who reacted quickly enough, he had lost a lot of people this time. He had lost nearly 1/3 of his men. Shameless boasting. I will slowly play with you. After hearing Xianhua's words, Night Sorrow's main body appeared at the spatial passageway. You were the one who released the poison? Xianhua looked at Night Sorrow and roared. Chapter 2288. Although Xianhua was furious, he didn't dare to chase because he didn't know the strength of the Celestial Realm's troops. A poisonous smoke attack was enough to send the troops of the ancient ice world flying. If they had any other methods, the entire ancient ice world would be annihilated. How was it? Seeing Night Sorrow return, Lin Piaomiao and the others asked excitedly. The effect was great. I don't know if I should be happy or sad. War is too cruel. Night Sorrow shook his head. Although they had heavily injured the cultivators of the ancient ice world, it wasn't the result that Night Sorrow wanted. Did they suffer heavy losses? Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow and asked. The soul-uniting realm cultivators weren't injured. 2 of the tribulation of the 9 emperors were injured. The rest suffered heavy losses, close to 1/3, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, how do you feel? Is there a problem? Elder Duan kept looking at Night Sorrow. He was worried that Night Sorrow would harm the heavens and his own merit by killing the ancient cultivators. Night Sorrow shook his head. He didn't feel any discomfort. His merit Dao body was still the same. Seeing Night Sorrow shake his head, Lin Piaomiao and the others felt more at ease. Everyone was worried about this. After this, the cultivators of the ancient ice world won't dare to attack. It will be a deterrent. Night Sorrow explained the situation and entered the 8-dragon cauldron to cultivate. Although there are no negative effects, he feels guilty. He killed 1/3 of them. That means he killed a lot of ancient cultivators. King Yawu sighed. Death was inevitable in war, but no one was willing to face death. Night Sorrow's original body went to cultivate. His doppelganger was still monitoring Xianhua and Xiancheng. Xianhua and Xiancheng dispersed the poisonous smoke. Then they looked at each other. The situation wasn't good for them. This was fatal. Xiancheng, go to the back and tell the brothel to back off. We can't be hurt by the poisonous smoke. Xianhua said to Xiancheng. Xiancheng nodded and left to arrange Xianhua's orders. Opportunity. Night Sorrow realized that this was an opportunity to take care of Xianhua. After coming out of the 8-dragon cauldron, Night Sorrow shouted at Heavenly Concubine and King Yawu. Let's attack. There's only Xianhua over there. The others have retreated to the back. Let's kill him first, Night Sorrow said to the others. #initial YVH then let's do it. King Yawu and the others also felt that this was an opportunity. King Yawu, Heavenly Concubine, Night Sorrow, Elder Duan, and the patriarch of the Divine Beast clan charged towards the spatial tunnel. When Xianhua discovered it, Night Sorrow, King Yawu, and the Heavenly Concubine had arrived. The three of them used the heaven, earth, and human tripartite formation to attack together. Night Sorrow focused on defense and suppression, while King Yawu and Heavenly Concubine began to violently attack. Men! Xianhua shouted. He had asked for help. The current situation was a great crisis for him. Follow me to the front to block them. Elder Duan shouted at Lin Yuanjun, King Blood Kirin, and Golden Dragon King. They were now racing against time. They had to buy time for Night Sorrow and the others to kill Xianhua. Night Sorrow released the human sovereign's seal. The Merit Taboo primordial domain suppressed Xianhua. Then, the primordial destruction / continuously attacked Xianhua. After 2 breaths of time, Xianhua was hit. The Heavenly Concubine's compassion sword chi had entered his body. After being hit, Xianhua kept getting hit. The spear light and sword chi kept entering his body. Ice seal. Melting snow. Xianhua, who was severely injured, roared. Then white extremely cold air emerged from his body and spread in all directions. Then he turned into several snowy figures and fled in all directions. When Night Sorrow, King Yawu, and the Heavenly Concubine defeated the snowmen that were chasing after them, another snowman ran far away and collected the energy of the snowman that they had defeated. Elder Duan, let's retreat. Seeing that it was too late to chase and kill them, Night Sorrow shouted at the Grand Elder and the others who were setting up defenses in the distance. They were about to fight with Xiancheng and the brothel. When Xiancheng and the brothel brought a few cultivators from the tribulation of the 9 emperors to kill them, Night Sorrow and the others retreated to the celestial realm. Prepare for battle. After retreating to the celestial realm, Night Sorrow shouted. Then he stood guard at the entrance of the spatial tunnel and sent a clone to investigate. When Night Sorrow's original body, King Yawu, and the Heavenly Concubine joined forces to kill Xianhua, Night Sorrow's clone did not make a move. He knew that if they could kill Xianhua, there was no need for his clone to make a move. If they couldn't kill Xianhua, his clone would be useless. The celestial realm's preparation for battle was useless. After Xianhua, Xiancheng, and the brothel met up, they did not attack. Xianhua's face was pale. He was seriously injured, but he was still holding on. Xiancheng, the brothel, you two take people and guard here. I need to go into seclusion. Xianhua entered the spatial treasure and began to recover. He was seriously injured, and in the end he had consumed the ice origin energy that he had been accumulating for many years to cultivate the lost art. They won't attack. I'll observe the situation first and see if we have a second chance to attack. Night Sorrow's original body said to King Yawu and the others. King Yawu nodded. It was a pity that they didn't kill Xianhua, but it was also a good result that Xianhua was seriously injured. Xianhua's spatial treasure stood near the entrance of the spatial tunnel. Xiancheng, the brothel, and the 4 tribulation of 9 emperors' cultivators were camping on one side. Let's play again. Everyone, watch the situation carefully. If the battle starts, Heavenly Concubine, you're faster. Pay more attention to Xianhua, who comes out of the spatial treasure. Now, you guys enter my spatial treasure first and act according to the situation. Night Sorrow said to the Heavenly Concubine and the others. Then Night Sorrow put King Yawu and the others into the spatial treasure and entered the spatial tunnel. They slowly approached the ancient world. When they were about to be detected, Night took out the smoke bottle and threw it between Xiancheng, the brothel, and the others. When the brothel was about to intercept it, the bottle was blasted apart by Night Sorrow's energy. Run. Knowing the power of the smoke, the brothel and the other tribulation of 9 emperors' cultivators turned around and ran. They were already frightened by the power of the smoke. The corpses on the ground were the work of the smoke. Xianqing didn't run. He used his energy to vibrate Xianhua's spatial treasure. Xianhua was his senior brother. No matter how dangerous the situation was, he couldn't leave Xianhua behind. Vibrate your protective precept domain. Don't let the poisonous smoke get close. Let's start the battle now, Night Sorrow said. His soul power vibrated and transferred King Yawu and the others out of the 8-dragon cauldron. Then he charged towards Xiancheng. King Yawu and the heavenly concubine's target was Xianhua's spatial treasure. The Grand Elder and the others cooperated with Night Sorrow to fight Xiancheng. Don't worry about me. Use all your strength to control that guy. Don't let him run. Night Sorrow shouted at Clan Elder Duan and the others. The target of this battle wasn't Xiancheng but Xianhua. He would restrain Xiancheng while the others went all out to kill Xianhua. If they could kill Xianhua, the situation of the battle would change again. The spatial treasure exploded, and Xianhua appeared. Chapter 2289. New W. Chapter 5. Upper X. Nonsense. You are the one who deserves to die. The heavenly concubine retorted. She waved the long sword in her hand, and streaks of compassion sword chi attacked Xianhua. King Yawu's divine spear moved freely, and the spear light shot into the sky. While suppressing Xianhua, it also constantly caused damage. The Grand Elder, White Tiger King, and the others used an array to attack together, restricting Xianhua's movements. Ice Seal. Snow Melt. The situation was not good. Xianhua used his ultimate move again. Ice Seal. Huang Ling floated back, and then used the Ice Phoenix Race's ultimate move. The Heavenly Astral King also used this ultimate move from another angle. Xianhua could use Ice Seal, and so could the Celestial Realm cultivators. Although their cultivation levels were different, and the power of the ultimate move was different, it could still restrict Xianhua's movements. After all, it was an ultimate move that belonged to Huang Ling and the Heavenly Astral King's energy. Ah! Xianhua roared. His Ice Seal was effective, but it could not seal King Yawu and the Heavenly Concubine for long. The energy body produced by his Snow Melt ultimate move had to constantly break the ice energy used by Huang Ling and the Heavenly Astral King. It had no speed at all, so it could not escape. Overlord Kill. The long spear in King Yawu's hand shot out a dark red spear light. It was his ultimate move that controlled the spear with his spirit. As the red spear light shot out, one of Xianhua's snow figures was scattered. After King Yawu caught up, his long spear vibrated and annihilated the snow figure's energy. Night Sorrow's main body gave up on Xiancheng and used the Void Step. The beginning Great Destruction Slash also blasted one of Xianhua's snow figures. Then, the Fire of Merit appeared and annihilated the snow figure's energy. The Heavenly Concubine's Compassion Sword Chi also hit the snow figure that had been slowed down by the Heavenly Astral King's ice energy. At this time, Xianhua still had 2 snow figures flying forward. Karmic Taboo Reincarnation Dao Domain. Night Sorrow's doppelganger appeared from the void's turbulent streams and used his Dao domain to suppress Xianhua. The Bloodbath Evil Vanquishing Spear executed the true reincarnation dragon art to attack Xianhua's snowy doppelganger. At this critical moment, if Xianhua did not stop it, Xianhua's snowy doppelganger would escape. Xianhua was only left with a snowy figure, and he had already broken through the ice seal of the 1,000 miles and began to flee. Die. Night Sorrow's Samsara halberd flew toward Xianhua's last energy body. King Yawu was fighting with Xiancheng. The Heavenly Concubine was in another direction. She couldn't make a move in time. That was all he could do. The Samsara halberd pierced through the sky and struck the last snowy figure of Xiancheng like a bolt of lightning. His physical body was annihilated, but his spiritual body was still there. The spiritual body continued to fly. Night Sorrow caught up with Xianhua. He had no time to retrieve the Samsara heavenly halberd. He used the human emperor's seal and trapped Xianhua's soul with the fire of merit. Then he attacked Xianhua's soul with the soul-destroying slash and the fist aura. I will definitely destroy all of you. Xianhua's soul ran forward with the fire of merit. At this time, the heavenly concubine also came up. The compassion sword Qi attacked Xiancheng's soul. The Grand Elder and the others surrounded Xiancheng and assisted King Yawu in attacking Xiancheng. At this time the prostitute came with people. Night Sorrow and the others were in a difficult situation because the prostitute had brought many people with her. There were many cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. Retreat. Uncle Master, retreat with your people. Night Sorrow shouted. Although they could not get the battle results, King Yawu and Sect Elder Duan retreated with their people. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine did not leave. They were still attacking Xianhua's soul. Night Sorrow would rather be trapped than kill Xianhua. The previous few snowy figures of Xianhua were easy to kill because they were external incarnations. Now this was the spiritual body of the original body. It was very difficult to kill because it had a strong vitality. King Yawu and the others retreated. Xiancheng was free. He attacked Night Sorrow. Heavenly concubine, get ready to enter my clear sky pagoda. Night Sorrow's clone attacked and stopped Xiancheng. The original body continued to attack Xianhua's soul with soul-extinguishing slash and oscillating fist. The heavenly concubine also attacked with all her might. Rays of compassion sword Qi shot towards the virtuous fire that wrapped around Xianhua's soul. Kill. The prostitute brought her people and surrounded Xianhua. Void Step 1000 Realms Defense. Night Sorrow used his movement technique to dodge the attacks of the prostitute and the others. He did not stop attacking Xianhua. The heavenly concubine also spread her saint spirit wings. Her body was like an illusion. She surrounded Xianhua's soul and attacked. She understood Night Sorrow's intention. He wanted to kill Xianhua at all costs. Killing Xianhua was very important to the 100 races of the celestial realm. It was equivalent to beheading their leader. It would be a great blow to the strength and morale of the ancient profound ice world. Xiaoxi and the others unleashed saber beams at Yishang's true body. Endure. Since he could not dodge, Night Sorrow used the 1000 Realms defense to endure. The astral blades of the prostitute and the others were weakened when they entered Night Sorrow's Sumeru spatial world. When they hit Night Sorrow's body, they did some damage, but it was not great. The real damage was from the prostitute's astral blades. Half an hour later, under the crazy attacks of Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine, Xianhua's soul was destroyed in half an hour. Enter my treasure. Night Sorrow shouted at the heavenly concubine. Then he used a palm blade to tear apart space. His original body merged with his clone and brought the heavenly concubine, who had entered the clear sky pagoda, into the chaotic streams of space. You want to leave? Xiancheng and the prostitute also led their people into the chaotic streams of space. They blocked Night Sorrow's path to the spatial tunnel. They knew Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine were exhausted. They could still fight. However, Night Sorrow did not fly toward the spatial tunnel. Instead, he flew in another direction at an extremely fast speed. You want to chase? Their attainments in the spatial attribute are definitely not as good as yours. There is no way to chase. Where are you flying to? The heavenly concubine did not understand. Weapon. My weapon. It's here. Night Sorrow said. The heavenly concubine was stunned. She remembered that Night Sorrow's samsara halberd destroyed one of Xianhua's snowy figures and flew away. At that time, in order to kill in one blow, I used too much strength. The samsara halberd probably flew very far away. I'll just follow my senses. Night Sorrow smiled. Aren't you afraid that they will know that we are not in the celestial realm and attack? The heavenly concubine asked. So what if they go in? They will die if they go in, Night Sorrow said. He was really happy because he had killed the enemy's leader. You're right. They don't have the courage now. The heavenly concubine nodded. After flying for a distance, Night Sorrow left the chaotic streams of space and entered the ancient world. He followed his soul senses. When he found the samsara halberd, Night Sorrow smiled. An imperial monarch-level ancient cultivator was thinking of ways to pull out his samsara halberd from the ground. When he saw Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine arrive, and could not see their cultivation. The ancient cultivator ran away. Chapter 2290. I remember. It's still vivid in my mind. Back then, I had a feeling that if I couldn't take care of you, it would be difficult in the future. That's the truth, said the heavenly concubine. Haha. I'm good at tormenting myself, but I've been tormenting myself all these years. I haven't fallen yet. Night Sorrow smiled and put the samsara halberd on his back. After putting away the weapon, Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine entered the clear sky pagoda to recover. They came out after recovering to their peak state and flew toward the spatial tunnel. They weren't afraid of a hard battle now. Xiancheng and the brothel couldn't stop them. Xiancheng and the brothel took their people and retreated a distance. Then, they gathered the 7 cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors to discuss the situation. Second Realm Lord, we can't defend against their poison now. The poison is too overbearing, said Qingjia. They're not as strong as us. It's just that we can't defend against the poison smoke. The 2 attacks were also because of the poison. Xianqing nodded. He was clear that they were fighting against the peak power of the celestial realm. Under such circumstances, the celestial realm would use their peak power. Then what do we do if we can't defend against the poison smoke? Asked the brothel with a frown. Poison has a flaw. It doesn't differentiate between friend and foe. Let's recover first, and then kill our way in. After that, we'll fight among their people. Can they poison us? If they can't, then it's our chance, said Xiancheng. The brothel and the others didn't say anything because Xiancheng's words made sense. Tell everyone that this isn't just an opportunity for us high-level cultivators. It's an opportunity for them too. As long as we break through the seal, everyone will get resources. Xiancheng told the higher-ups of the ancient profound ice realm again. He was worried that his people wouldn't be stable, and wanted to reassure them. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine arrived at the spatial tunnel. They didn't see the brothel and the others. Night Sorrow's clone appeared, and entered the spatial turbulence to continue being their eyes. However, his protective treasure was switched. The clone carried the 8-dragon cauldron. Because the 8-dragon cauldron's ability to suppress spatial turbulence was stronger, and the clear sky pagoda's ability to assist cultivation was stronger, his main body was more suitable. Then Night Sorrow's main body and heavenly concubine passed through the spatial tunnel. You're back safely. You're not hurt, are you? Lin Piaomiao heaved a sigh of relief upon seeing Night Sorrow's return. She, King Yawu, and the others were worried. It's fine. We just need to take care of it. This can be considered a great victory. Not only did we destroy a portion of their forces, but we also killed one of their peak experts. If they come again, we can fight them in groups, Night Sorrow said. That's right. They only have 2 divine soul uniting realm cultivators. They are at a disadvantage compared to us, King Yawu said. At present, on the heaven realm side, King Yawu and the heavenly concubine were divine soul synchrony realm cultivators. The Great Elder was slightly weaker, but he could still restrain them. On Yishang's side, both his original body and doppelganger could restrain them. If they were to fight against the tribulation of the 9 emperors, given enough time, Yishang could kill them. Now let's see what they choose to do. Everyone take a rest. My clone will be watching the spatial tunnel. If anything happens, we'll know. After that, Night Sorrow entered the clear sky pagoda to recover. When Xianhua's soul was killed, Night Sorrow's clone was blocking Xiancheng. He wasn't hurt, but his main body had been hurt by the attacks of the brothel's people. There was a xenogenic error in his body that needed to be taken care of, but it wasn't serious. While Night Sorrow was recovering, he was practicing. His level was close to the tribulation of 7 emperors. If he stabilized it, he could pass the tribulation. King Yawu took out a few jars of wine. He called the Grand Elder, Heavenly Concubine, Lin Piaomiao, and the leader of the mythical beasts to sit together. This battle is the beginning of a big change, King Yawu said happily. It's a reversal of power. It's worth celebrating. Let's have a drink. Both sides started to reorganize. Xiancheng and the brothel's people were reorganizing. The races of the celestial realm didn't plan on fighting yet. Half a month later, Night Sorrow's main body came out of seclusion. They haven't attacked yet, Night Sorrow said. They must be scared of the poisonous smoke. I didn't want to use poison, but there was nothing I could do about it. Punishing one evil is like punishing 10 good. You killed a lot of ancient cultivators, but do you know how many people you saved in the celestial realm? So don't think too much about it, King Yawu said to Night Sorrow. He was worried that Night Sorrow would feel pressured. Uncle, don't worry. Although I'm a little uncomfortable with some things, I can figure it out. Night Sorrow nodded. Are you planning to go through the tribulation again? Clan Elder Duan asked Night Sorrow. Everyone saw Night Sorrow's state. There's no hurry. I plan to relax a little more before going, Night Sorrow said. He felt that his state was too tense and needed to relax a little. While they were talking, the protectors of the divine capital came to report that they had caught a few spies at the blockade line. Their souls were all controlled. There were cultivators of the Demon Wing clan in their space treasures. One of them was killed, and the other escaped. We must pay attention to the defense of the blockade line and guard it well. As long as they don't know the situation of the battle, they won't dare to attack, King Yawu said to the person who came. I didn't think of these things. Uncle, you're very considerate, Night Sorrow said. You've already arranged it well. It's already very rare that no one is injured. I can't do that. King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and shook his head. Then Lin Piaomiao told Night Sorrow that the first group of people from the celestial realm to go to the 9 regions world had been arranged. Harmony. Tell the people in the 9 regions world to arrange things properly. It must be harmonious. Night Sorrow looked at Lin Piaomiao and said. His 9 regions clone was cultivating the 1,000 worlds defense body in seclusion. He really didn't know about the arrangements. Don't worry, it's already arranged. The division of the regions is also in progress. Later, I'll give you the map of the regions. Lin Piaomiao nodded. Issue a martial prohibition order. For a period of time in the 9 regions world, all cities are prohibited from fighting. All forces are not allowed to fight or fight. Issue a ban order. Before the ban is lifted, all races and forces that enter the heaven realm are not allowed to go out to explore and plunder resources until the ban is lifted. Yi Chang gave 2 orders in a row. These 2 orders are good. It's stable. This way it can be stable, King Tianxing said. The 9 regions world hasn't reached the level of a supreme world yet. It's indeed not suitable to explore and plunder resources. That's destroying one's foundation. It's better to be strict. King Yawu nodded. He supported Night Sorrow's decision. Uncle, thank you for your understanding. Now, I just want stability. I just want the 9 regions world to develop better. The external enemies are already very strong. We must be harmonious internally, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 2291. I am the Realm Lord of the 9 regions world, and I am responsible for the billions of lives in the 9 regions world. I am the human sovereign of the 100 races in the celestial realm, and I cannot ignore the development of the 100 races in the celestial realm. I need to find a balance. When the 9 regions world enters the supreme world, other than the spirit stone mines that are not allowed, other adventures and opportunities will be allowed, Night Sorrow said. Young City Lord, don't feel pressured. We all know what kind of person you are. Tomorrow, when you kill the member of the White Tiger race, I won't even ask because he deserved it. Some things don't need to be explained, and you don't need to explain to anyone, Lin Yuanjun said. Night Sorrow nodded. As long as we get through this, the future will be good, because we have the World Tree, Night Sorrow said with a smile. In order to prevent the celestial realm from being destroyed, the World Tree was left in the celestial realm. Actually, it is most suitable for it to be placed in the 9 regions world, Elder Duan said. Night Sorrow thought about it, and didn't mention the sapling of the World Tree, because it wasn't necessary. It wasn't that he didn't trust anyone, but the sapling hadn't matured yet, and it wouldn't be of much use. What I am looking forward to the most is how strong the young city lord will be after he passes the tribulation of the 7 emperors. Huang Ling looked at Night Sorrow and said, That's right. Right now, a single body can restrain a divine soul unity realm cultivator. After he passes the tribulation of the 7 emperors, he will no longer be a restraint, and he won't be at a disadvantage in battle. In the future, the human race will still be the ruler of the 100 races. In terms of talent and early stages of cultivation, the mythological beasts have the greatest advantage, but the humans are still the best cultivators. It's not without reason that they're the leader of the 100 races. Only the humans can maintain the stability of the 100 races, the Golden Dragon King said. Even if one of our races is stronger than the human race, we can't seize the right to rule because when disaster comes, the human race will step forward bravely. They won't fear death and sacrifice, Bloodland King said. How should I put it? Human cultivators and rulers pay more attention to moral cultivation. Their thoughts and decisions are more objective and comprehensive. They don't want to enslave or suppress anyone, said King Yawu. He was very happy that the patriarchs of the divine beasts had such an awareness. Lin Yuanjun looked at the Golden Dragon King and said, Yes, Golden Dragon King, you don't want to hear this. During those years, the white dragons suffered great losses. Otherwise, they would have attacked the black dragons a long time ago. I didn't think about what happened in between. In fact, under the tolerance of Tran Hung, King Yawu, and the Grand Elder, the black dragons did come over. You're not the only one who is disappointed. Fortunately, the result is good. The Golden Dragon King nodded. Young City Lord, you have a few sons. If you don't have a wife, you should pay more attention to our Ice Phoenix race. We have beauties. Huang Ling changed the topic and said with a smile. Haha. Sure, but I don't care about the children's relationships. By the way, the rules of your Ice Phoenix race may not be suitable. After marriage, the man has to do this and that, Night Sorrow said with a smile. We have changed the rules of our race, especially the marriage rule. We have learned from the human race's civilization. Marriage is free. Huang Ling told him about the changes of the Ice Phoenix race. Head. That race is different. Those who don't choose to cultivate in the human body are still not allowed. Elder Duan thought for a while and said, This problem has been solved. We asked for the prung technique from the young city lord. After learning from it, we have developed the same technique, the turning technique. Everyone knows the effect. I have to say, the technique that Qing Peng developed for the sake of marrying a wife is really heaven-defying. Huang Ling took out a technique book and put it away. She asked for the Peng technique from Tianyu. Of course, she said some good things. Tianyu gave it to her because of Wu Lingfei. Say it. What price? The Blood Kirin King looked at Huang Ling and asked. Yes, what price do you want? Lin Yuanjun nodded. The Ice Phoenix race wanted to change and truly integrate into the human race. They also planned to take this step. In this case, the technique was very important. After the divine beast race transformed, there were not many who chose to cultivate in the human body. Most of them kept their beast form. This was not allowed to integrate with the human race. There is no price. Come and make a copy later. In the future, think of others more generously. Huang Ling said. Thank you. The White Tiger King and the Blood Kirin King cupped their hands to Huang Ling. Golden Dragon King, you don't want it. Huang Ling looked at the Golden Dragon King and asked. I want it. Let's see how it is different from the Golden Dragon King's Dragon Man technique. The Golden Dragon King said with a smile. No wonder you are not in a hurry. I thought you did not consider the other dragons. Huang Ling understood. The dragons already had a way. After staying at the spatial passage for 3 days, they completely relaxed. Night Sorrow told everyone that he was going to go through the tribulation. He needed someone to monitor the situation here. You go. Uncle Master will go outside to investigate the situation. He will not accompany you. Be careful. King Yawu said to Night Sorrow. You don't have to accompany me. I will send a clone to follow. If anyone causes trouble, I will not be polite. Night Sorrow was not very confident about the spatial passage. He did not plan to let anyone guard it for him. Okay, then we will wait to celebrate for you. Sect Elder Duan nodded. Lin Piaomiao went forward to help Night Sorrow tidy up his robe. I will not follow you. Go to the illusion array and call Aluo and the child. Okay, don't worry. This is actually my second tribulation of the 7 emperors. There is no danger. Night Sorrow hugged Lin Piaomiao and left. I am envious. Huang Ling, We have missed out on too much. Heavenly Astral King sighed. He and Huangling had a good relationship. But in the past years, because of the clan rules, they spent less time together. I won't in the future. As long as the celestial realm can survive this tribulation, I will no longer care about the Ice Phoenix clan. I will accompany you to travel. Huangling looked at her husband and said, Okay, I look forward to the changes after the young city lord passes the tribulation of the 7 emperors. But will there be any drawbacks if you advance too quickly? Heavenly Astral King changed the topic. After all, there were other people around. They could talk about it at other times. Probably not. Every time he advances, he will go through a great battle. Moreover, he will not hold back. This is the consolidation and summary of the past. There is no flaw in his understanding of the Tao. Besides, he has come into contact with the forbidden energy too early. He must improve with all his strength. The current situation is also giving him pressure. The peak battle power of the celestial realm is still too weak. King Yawu shook his head. Chapter 2292. The Heavenly Astral King stood up and accepted the task. The Black Tortoise race and the Green Rock race were here. The celestial realm's combat power could be increased, but it was only for group battles. In the pinnacle battle, these people would be useless. In front of the Divine Soul Unity realm, and the tribulation of 9 emperors, they would be trampled. Knight Sorrow left the spatial passage, and found a deserted place to start his tribulation. He was well prepared, but the lightning tribulation wasn't as violent as the last time. It was 20% less powerful, so he didn't need to use any resources to survive the tribulation of 7 emperors. Of course, the lightning tribulation's power was small for Knight Sorrow, but if it was someone else, the consequences would be severe. They might even die. After successfully passing the tribulation, Knight Sorrow's original body collected the energy of the lightning tribulation and entered the Clear Sky Pagoda to cultivate. His clone returned to the spatial passage. Tribulation of 7 emperors. The realm is tribulation of 7 emperors. Success. Knight Sorrow returned. Although it was just a clone, Blood Lin King and the others could see Knight Sorrow's true energy cultivation realm. Sorry for making everyone worried. Knight Sorrow nodded to Blood Lin King. How was it? Heavenly Concubine asked. It was a little less powerful than the previous tribulation. It went smoothly. My main body stabilized its cultivation base. My clone returned first, said Yishang. Let's have a feast. Golden Dragon King said happily. He knew Knight Sorrow early and watched Knight Sorrow grow step by step. He was especially happy for Knight Sorrow. After drinking 2 cups of wine, Knight Sorrow entered the spatial passage and replaced King Yawu. Then he felt the changes of his true energy in the void turbulence and studied the power of his battle skills. $Jingu version UU head / O'Hare at the spatial passage. King Yawu and the others were chatting. I can't look at him as a junior anymore. Tribulation of 7 emperors. I didn't expect him to reach this realm in such a short time. Golden Dragon King sighed. Success is not a coincidence. He has put in a lot of effort that ordinary people can't. The Heavenly Concubine said. Others might not know, but after knowing Knight Sorrow, she saw how hard he worked. Now that he has successfully ascended, I feel much more at ease. Even if the celestial realm falls during this critical period, it doesn't matter, because we can fight our way back. When he reaches the tribulation of the 8 emperors and the tribulation of the 9 emperors, who can stop him? Go back to where you came from. If you don't leave, you'll be killed. King Yawu sighed. Everyone agreed with King Yawu's words. This was the deterrence of a top-tier expert. Having an expert that no one could contend against could decide the outcome of the war. After all, no one would be able to resist such an expert. For example, if the cultivators of the ancient profound ice realm entered the celestial realm, as long as the 100 Races Alliance of the celestial realm had a super expert, they could eliminate the higher-ups of the ancient profound ice realm. Actually, what we need to do now is to defend and stabilize the situation. We need to buy time for Knight Sorrow to rise. When he can kill, the cultivators of the ancient world and the Demon Wing clan won't dare to attack, Elder Duan said. Heavenly Concubine, There are some things that you shouldn't mind. This is how it is. We must defend the celestial realm. When the Demon Wing clan was mentioned, Huang Ling was worried that the heavenly concubine would feel awkward, so she explained, I understand. Now that I am the protector of the Nine Domains world, no force can invade the Nine Domains world. As for the war between the 100 races and other forces in the celestial realm, I will intervene when it is convenient. However, I can't fight against the Demon Wing clan. I have communicated with Night Sorrow about this. The heavenly concubine explained her point of view. I understand. We are already very grateful for the way things are. If you have any difficulties, please tell us. As long as we can help you, we won't be stingy. King Yawu expressed his attitude. Everyone knew that if the heavenly concubine hadn't assisted Night Sorrow in the war with the ancient world, the situation would have been very difficult to control. They wouldn't have been able to kill and suppress the leaders. The heavenly concubine cupped her hands at King Yawu. She understood that the cultivators of the 100 races of the celestial realm would fight to the death against their enemies. However, they would treat their friends with affection and loyalty. Xiancheng and the brothel organized their subordinates and explained the future situation to them. In order to let his subordinates fight with all their strength, Xiancheng used the benefits of breaking the celestial realm's defense as an excuse to instill the thought of not giving up in his subordinates. After a month, Xiancheng restored the morale and fighting spirit of his subordinates. He and the brothel were ready to attack. They didn't want to wait and see anymore. They couldn't block the space passage. If the celestial realm threw out the 2 poison bottles, it would be fatal. The brothel was very supportive of Xiancheng's tactics. Xiancheng officially took over as the leader of the ancient ice world. Night Sorrow's original body cultivated in the Haotian Pagoda for 2 years. After stabilizing his realm, he began to cultivate the Wuji physical conditioning art. He now had a fixed cultivation method. Naturally, increasing one's realm was very slow. However, using strength to prove one's path was much faster. With the help of the Wuji physical conditioning art, Night Sorrow had no difficulty in improving his body's cultivation. What troubled Night Sorrow was the consumption of resources. The Wuji physical conditioning art consumed resources at a terrifying speed. According to the current strength of Night Sorrow's body, the amount of resources needed to regenerate a severed limb was huge. The essence blood of the Divine Soul Unity Realm Black Horn Dragon had been used up. Currently, he was using Supreme Grade Saint Spirit Stones to cultivate. After the research of the 9 Domains Doppelganger and the Battle Doppelganger, Night Sorrow's Thousand Realms defensive body's 4th realm had been formed. On this day, while Night Sorrow's Battle Doppelganger was cultivating the Primordial Shattering Slash, he noticed Xiancheng and the brothel leading a large group of people. His original body immediately came out of the Haotian Pagoda and quickly returned to the space passage. Prepare for battle. The other party is coming aggressively. It doesn't seem like they want to confront us. They want to attack us. They have a lot of cultivators from the tribulation of 9 emperors. We can't fight them head-on. If they dare to enter the array, we'll split up and kill them. Night Sorrow arrived at the space passage and gave the order to fight. He felt that something was amiss because the speed of the people brought by Xiancheng and the brothel wasn't right. They weren't moving slowly. They were flying at high speed. They didn't have any intention of stopping. Cultivators under the tribulation of 7 emperors, wait for orders at the space passage. Everyone else enter. We have to break their defense and seal in one go. Xiancheng gave the order while flying with his people. Return to the array. Night Sorrow's doppelganger read Xiancheng's mouth and knew Xiancheng's order. His original body in the celestial realm gave the order, while he stood in front of the array with the reincarnation heavenly halberd. Xiancheng and the brothel led the people above the tribulation of 7 emperors into the space passage. You're here. Night Sorrow greeted Xiancheng, who came out of the space passage and arrived in the celestial realm. Not bad. Show me what you've got. Xiancheng looked at Night Sorrow and used his soul power to scan the surroundings. Chapter 2293. You still dare to mention this? Go to hell. Xiancheng was enraged when he heard Xianhua's name. He waved his saber and charged towards Night Sorrow. Since that's the case, don't blame anyone when you die. Night Sorrow moved. He used afterimage body and void step to avoid Xiancheng and brothel. His samsara halberd went straight for a 7th Emperor Tribulation cultivator. The surrounding energy is strange. Don't rush in recklessly. Kill him first. Brothel was still relatively calm. His soul power was restricted by the peerless formation. He felt that something was wrong, so he decided to deal with Night Sorrow first. As they clashed, the ancient cultivator with the Tribulation 7 Emperor's cultivation base was blasted into the unparalleled Great Array by Night Sorrow. At this time, Bloodlin King and the others who were waiting in the formation made their move. They used a joint attack formation and began to surround and kill the cultivators who entered the formation. On Night Sorrow's side, the Samsara halberd was unstoppable. He ignored Xiancheng and brothel and focused on the 7th Emperor Tribulation and 8th Emperor Tribulation cultivators. Not to mention that they would be injured by Night Sorrow's all-out attack. Once they entered the formation, they would be trapped. The formation's energy lingered, and these ancient cultivators could not escape. At this time, Night Sorrow's doppelganger did not look at the situation. The crucial moment had arrived, and it was meaningless to wait. Night Sorrow's doppelganger tore through space and returned to the real world. He entered the space tunnel and returned to the celestial realm. He directly started to kill the cultivators who entered the celestial realm. King Yawu and Heavenly Concubine also made their move. Just like Night Sorrow, they did not aim to kill or injure. They just wanted to bombard the cultivators of the ancient profound ice realm into the peerless formation. Joint attack. Xiancheng saw that something was wrong. He formed a defensive ring with brothel and the other cultivators. Martial Uncle, Heavenly Concubine, retreat first. Yishang shouted, and then entered the formation. He wanted to kill the ancient cultivators who had entered the formation first. There were already many ancient cultivators trapped in the formation. There were 2 9th Emperor Tribulation cultivators, and even more 8th Emperor Tribulation and 7th Emperor Tribulation cultivators. There was no one else. Xiancheng and the prostitute were a little dumbfounded. Their opponents were gone, and a portion of their cultivators were missing. The tribulation of the 9 emperors had lost 2 cultivators, and the tribulation of the 8 emperors and 7 emperors had lost 1/3 of their cultivators. All around them was a vast expanse of white fog. There was no sound, and they couldn't detect anything. It was very quiet. However, this silence caused Xiancheng and the others to feel their hair stand on end. This was because this vast expanse of white energy could eat people. Ancient cultivators who entered this vast expanse of white energy could no longer make a sound. Actually, it wasn't that there was no sound, but that it was isolated by the array's energy. They were still fighting inside the formation. Although they had the help of the formation, high-level tribulation emperors were difficult to kill. They had strong survivability. After 2 hours, Night Sorrow and the others finally finished their battle. However, everyone had expended quite a bit of energy. Xiancheng looked at the darkened soul crystal in his hand. His expression was very ugly because that was the soul crystal of his closest subordinate. Retreat. Xiancheng knew that he could not enter the array now because the cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors had been killed. It would be dangerous for him and his prostitute to enter. Leave one more behind. Night Sorrow's original body and his clone appeared. After activating the Thousand Realms defense body, they ignored Xiancheng and his prostitute's attacks and directly attacked a cultivator of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. Night Sorrow forcefully withstood 3 energy sabers and blasted a cultivator of the tribulation of the 9 emperors into the array. Night Sorrow felt that it was worth it to kill a cultivator of the tribulation of the 9 emperors with injuries that could be recovered. He had expended a lot of energy and was not confident. Otherwise, he would have chosen to attack Xiancheng and his prostitute. Seeing that his subordinates and Night Sorrow had disappeared, Xiancheng shouted coldly, "Retreat!" Xiancheng knew that he had to retreat. More than half of his strength had been exhausted. If he stayed, there would be more trouble. Night Sorrow retreated into the array and entered the clear sky pagoda to recover. King Yawu and the Heavenly Concubine joined forces and killed the last cultivator of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. Then, everyone entered their spatial treasures to recover. After half a day, everyone had recovered. Then, they went to a space near the spatial tunnel that was not covered by the array. Night Sorrow, we have injured them severely. Now that we can fight, it's worth it to deal with them with some injuries, said King Yawu. Martial Uncle, wait here. I'll go in to investigate, said Night Sorrow as he entered the spatial tunnel. Kill. As soon as Night Sorrow came out of the spatial tunnel, he was attacked by Xiancheng from behind. The prostitute in front of him was attacking him from the front. Night Sorrow had been ambushed. He had always been the one ambushing others. He did not expect to be ambushed. Xiancheng and the prostitute were hidden underground in the spatial treasure. Night Sorrow did not notice them. Thousand Realms defense body. In a hurry, Night Sorrow could only defend with all his might while his true body rushed over to help. His doppelganger could not retreat because Xiancheng was behind him. Seeing Night Sorrow's main body rush into the spatial tunnel, King Yawu and the heavenly concubine looked at each other, and also rushed into the spatial tunnel. They knew something was wrong. Night Sorrow's main body fought fiercely with Xiancheng, and the tunnel was opened. The heavenly concubine and King Yawu came out and started attacking the prostitute. They were angry because Night Sorrow's clone's energy was unstable. It was obvious that he had been attacked. First, 0H** surround and kill, shouted Xiancheng. Retreat. After Night Sorrow's clone shot out a spear, he began to retreat. His clone had been hit in the back. The energy was torturing his body. He only had 60% of his combat power. King Yawu and the heavenly concubine did not continue fighting. They covered Night Sorrow's retreat, and then retreated to the celestial realm. How are you? Asked the heavenly concubine as she looked at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's clone entered the clear sky pagoda to recuperate. His main body shook his head at the heavenly concubine. I got hit. I was ambushed when I went out and got hit twice. I need some time to recover. Young City Lord, let's kill our way out and fight. The White Tiger King was a little angry because Night Sorrow was injured. No, we have to avoid unnecessary injuries. We have to defend first. We need to stabilize the celestial realm. It doesn't matter how many ancient cultivators we kill. Night Sorrow shook his head. He knew that if they fought head-on now, they could win, but they would have to pay a price. Night Sorrow, this is you. If it was someone else, let's take Martial Uncle as an example. Without the connection between his main body and his clone, he would be in danger of dying after being ambushed. King Yawu exhaled and said, this move of Xiancheng and the prostitute was quite ruthless. They had expected that after they retreated, the celestial realm would definitely go over to investigate. If it was a divine soul unity realm expert without a clone, after being heavily injured and without a clone to report, it would be easy for him to die. At the very least, he would be severely injured. Chapter 2294. This time, Night Sorrow was moving forward with energy vibrations. If there was anything strange, he would notice it. Even if there was a spatial treasure that could shrink it, it couldn't stop him from checking. After exiting the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow didn't notice anything. Then Night Sorrow returned to the spatial tunnel. No one. They probably retreated. Even if we attack again, they would need some time to prepare. How's your clone? King Yawu asked. He knew that Night Sorrow's injuries weren't light. I've always been the one to sneak up on others. This time, I didn't expect Xiancheng and the others to ambush me. I was hit and slashed twice. I can recover, but it will take a long time, Night Sorrow said. You must be careful next time. Some mistakes can't be made. The first time can be fatal, King Yawu said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that it was because his body was strong and his defense was strong. Otherwise, his body would have been destroyed by the sneak attack of two divine soul unison realm cultivators. Luckily, it was the young city lord who went. If it was someone else, they would have died easily. These bastards still know how to do this, the Golden Dragon King scolded. Then, Night Sorrow's clone went to recover while his original body went out to check. However, he didn't find anyone from the ancient profound ice world. At this moment, Xiancheng and the brothel led people to retreat towards the ancient profound ice world. Of course, they didn't give up. They had to reorganize before attacking. Brothel, That's the supreme world without a doubt. The strength of the cultivators there is similar to our ancient profound ice world. When they were fighting with us, they only had 2 Divine Soul Unity Realm experts and 1 cultivator who was close to the Divine Soul Unity Realm. They didn't even have any tribulation of the 9 emperors. They relied on the heterodox array formations and poisons to obstruct our attacks. Have you sent anyone out? Xianqing asked the brothel. I've sent someone to contact the underworld castle. However, it will take some time for the news to come back. The brothel nodded. Okay, we must take down that world. However, we can't eat it ourselves, so we can only let the people of Dark Realm Castle have a share. Xianqing was very unhappy. He didn't want other ancient cultivators to know about this. Not finding any ancient cultivators, Night Sorrow communicated with King Yawu and the others for a while, and then released the spies of the Heaven Wasteland Army, who had clones to continue monitoring the 100 districts. That night Sorrow was drinking tea. King Yawu and the others came over. With the ancient cultivators gone, everyone felt more relaxed. Night Sorrow, it's rare that your original body isn't cultivating. Huang Ling asked after sitting down. Yes. Night Sorrow smiled. Did something happen to you? Heavenly Concubine asked. My cultivation resources can't keep up. Night Sorrow ruffled his hair. You're so rich that you can even set up an unparalleled formation. How can you say you don't have resources? Huang Ling curled her lips. Everyone knew that Night Sorrow had abundant resources and spirit stones. It's not that I don't have resources. It's just that it's not suitable. It's a waste to use spirit stones. Night Sorrow pinched the bridge of his nose and explained his situation. You lack materials. Let's think of a way. What materials do you need? King Yawu asked. It's nothing. Uncle, let's not talk about this. I'll take it slow. Night Sorrow shook his head. What did he need now? He needed materials to cultivate his body. He needed the blood essence of demonic beasts and divine beasts. He could use the blood of his enemies, but Night Sorrow wouldn't use the blood of his own people. I understand. You're using strength as your cultivation method. If you want to cultivate your body, you need materials to replenish your blood essence. That's why you're so insistent. The City Lord's mansion of the Divine Capital should have some in stock, King Yawu said. High-level demonic beasts and divine beasts' blood essence? Night Sorrow, there are some things that you don't know. Master Tran Hung fought in the Outer Realm and killed a lot of demonic beasts and demonic beasts. The blood essence of ordinary demonic beasts can't be used because there are no suitable materials. However, there are some left. I'll send someone to get them. After hearing King Yawu's words, the Grand Elder understood what Night Sorrow needed. The others also understood. Young City Lord, your increase in strength can affect the overall situation. Don't think too much at this time. The problem of resources must be solved if possible. If you can't solve it, think of a way to solve it. Our divine beasts should have some blood essence left, King Bloodland said. No. I don't want it. I can't climb on the backs of my predecessors. I appreciate your kindness. Night Sorrow shook his head and refused. There were some things that he wouldn't do. Looking at Yi Shang, Bloodland King and the others didn't say anything. Yi Shang had made it very clear. It was meaningless for them to say anything. Yi Shang had his reasons for being so insistent. Half a day later, the City Lord's mansion of the Divine Capital sent the blood essence of a 3-headed dragon and a black dragon. Night Sorrow took out 100 monarch spirit stones to exchange for it. With the resources, Night Sorrow didn't go into seclusion. His clone was still recovering. He felt that it wasn't appropriate for him and his clone to not be here. Go and cultivate. If there's a situation, I'll activate your spatial treasure. It won't be too late for you to come out. Also, our 100 domains defense is not fake. If ancient cultivators appear in large numbers, I'll know in advance, Heavenly Concubine said. She knew what Night Sorrow was thinking. After thinking about it, Night Sorrow felt that Heavenly Concubine's words made sense. He couldn't slow down his improvement, because the 100 races of the celestial realm needed high-end combat power. After greeting King Yawu, Sect Elder Duan, and the others, Night Sorrow entered the Clear Sky Pagoda and began cultivating. The The situation stabilized again. Green Rock Race and Black Tortoise Race had arrived. Green Rock Old Ancestor and Black Tortoise Patriarch began cultivating a joint attack array. They were also high-end combat power of the 100 races of the Celestial Realm. Night Sorrow disappeared in front of everyone. Night Sorrow, who was cultivating, didn't have any concept of time. Night Sorrow's clone took half a year to recover to its peak state. However, he didn't come out of seclusion. He continued to study the Thousand Realms defense body in the time acceleration. Sect Elder Lin, your man is too crazy. His spatial treasure can accelerate time by 60 times. He's been in there for almost a year. That means he's been cultivating for 60 years. Doesn't he love you enough? Huang Ling and Lin Piamiao chatted. Percent update, new 2 square root most. Quick H. It's because he loves you enough that he's working hard. He wants to give our family a stable life. In the current situation, tyrannical combat power is the only guarantee of stability, Lin Piamiao said. I seem to understand a little. Huang Ling nodded. 3.5 years after Night Sorrow's seclusion, which was also the 4th year of the confrontation with the ancient world, he came out of seclusion. 3.5 years in the real world meant that Night Sorrow had cultivated for 200 years. When he came out of seclusion, his body had reached the peak of the tribulation of the 7 emperors. In addition, his Thousand Realms defense body had reached the 5th realm. Feeling that he hadn't improved recently, Night Sorrow came out of seclusion. After coming out of seclusion, Night Sorrow knew that the cultivators of the ancient world group were gathering at the spatial passageway again. This meant that the crisis of war was coming again. Chapter 2295. It's good enough for us to stabilize for 3 years. I wonder if this group of people is related to those from the ancient profound ice world. If they are, it'll be fine. If not, it'll be a big problem. We'll have to face 2 waves of enemies, King Yawu said. Night Sorrow nodded. Everyone knew that the people from the ancient profound ice world would not give up. They had to retreat for now. After reorganizing and gathering some people, Xiancheng and the others would come again. But it's okay. After the last battle, it proved that the unparalleled Great Formation's power is not a problem. It can trap the 9 Emperors' tribulation. As for the Divine Soul Uniting Realm, they won't be able to break out in a short time, Elder Duan said. If a large number of high-level cultivators charge in, the pressure on the formation will increase. In other words, once they enter the formation, we have to kill them as soon as possible. Don't let them consume too much of the formation's energy, Yishan said. The others nodded. Everyone knew that the unparalleled Great Formation was strong, but it had a certain endurance. It wasn't invincible. The Golden Dragon King shook his head and said, Young City Lord, the rate at which your body is progressing is truly incredible. How did you manage to cultivate to this extent? How do you embarrass our mythological beast race? I've been cultivating my body since I started cultivating. My foundation is pretty good, so it's easier for me to cultivate now. But I can't afford to consume resources. The 3-headed dragon's blood essence that the City Lord Mansion sent me last time has been used up. Only the black dragon's blood essence is left, Night Sorrow said with a smile. An entire 3-headed dragon's blood essence was enough to increase one's body's cultivation by 1 level. This was Night Sorrow's current situation. If it's not enough, you can tell us that you have the space to surpass the Divine Soul Uniting Realm. But we can't. So your cultivation can't be delayed. King Yawu handed over a storage ring to Night Sorrow. Inside it was the blood essence of the demonic beasts that he sent someone to get from the City Lord Mansion. Thank you, Uncle Master. However, I have reached a bottleneck and cannot go into seclusion for the time being. Let's see what the situation is with this group of cultivators. After this crisis is resolved, I will go and transcend the lightning tribulation. Night Sorrow did not stand on ceremony with King Yawu. He took the storage ring King Yawu handed over. As the scouts continued to report back, Night Sorrow and the others knew that the other party was getting closer and closer to the spatial passageway. They had come prepared. Night Sorrow ordered his spies to retreat and prepare for battle. He then had his avatar pass through the spatial passage and enter the chaotic streams of space as a scout. If they were from the ancient profound ice world, he would avoid them. If they were not from the ancient profound ice world, he would stay in the space tunnel as an observer like last time. As a matter of fact, this time, it was the people from the ancient ice world. To be exact, less than half of them were from the ancient ice world. There were also new ancient cultivators, who all wore black robes. Sector Lord Xiancheng, are you saying that the other party's defensive formation is very powerful? A man in a black robe with golden edges communicated with Xiancheng. Yes. The cultivators under my command from the tribulation of the 9 emperors were trapped in the formation, and did not come out, Xiancheng said. Go Nan, when we arrive, we will take the formation. You go and see what kind of formation it is. The man in the black robe with golden edges said to a man with a pointy mouth and ape-like chin behind him. The man in the black robe with golden edges was very famous in the ancient world group. He was the castle lord of Dark World Castle. Outside, he was known as the Black Armored King. He was the leader of the demonic beasts, Black Armored Tiger. He had created Dark World Castle, which was a top force. Because he knew that Dark World Castle was very powerful, Xiancheng first considered Dark World Castle when he thought about forming an alliance. This way, he did not need to find other ancient cultivators, and would not let them participate. Go Nan was the formation master of Dark World Castle. He had high attainments in formations. The defensive formation of Dark World Castle was set up by him. This was also one of the reasons why Xiancheng first chose Dark World Castle to form an alliance. Dark World Castle had ancient cultivators who were proficient in formations. The arrival of the people from Dark World Castle and Ancient Ice World made Knight Sorrow realize the seriousness of the situation. His doppelganger tore open the space barrier and returned to the space tunnel. He knew that Xiancheng and the others would definitely tear open the space to investigate when they arrived. After entering the space tunnel, Knight Sorrow went to an area where he could detect the outside, but was not easy to detect from the outside. He took out the 8-dragon cauldron and smashed it into the ground. His body entered and began to investigate. He had to know the other party's movements. It was impossible to hide in the void turbulence, so this was the best position. Unless the other party was messing around, it would be impossible to find him. Knight Sorrow's original body brought King Yawu and the others to the core area of the unparalleled formation. The energy here was very stable. It was a living space with a command tent. The other party is here. It's an alliance of people. Xiancheng and Xiaoxi brought people from another force. I don't know what kind of force it is. I will confirm it after listening to their conversation. This force is very strong. It is the same as the original ancient ice world. They have 3 divine soul unity realm cultivators. Knight Sorrow introduced the preliminary situation to King Yawu and the others. Then the other party has 5 divine soul unity realm opponents? Isn't this asking for our lives? Huang Ling said in astonishment. The last time the ancient ice world came, the 3 divine soul unity realm experts put a lot of pressure on the defense of the celestial realm. Now that the other party had so many experts, it wasn't only Huang Ling who was astonished. Everyone was shocked. Don't worry. I will first set up a sealing array for the unparalleled formation. Yi Shan moved as soon as he finished speaking. He added a sealing array formation to the peerless great array that prevented energy from entering and flowing through the spatial passageway. Knight Sorrow, are you preparing to use poison? Heavenly Concubine, who followed beside Knight Sorrow to protect Knight Sorrow, asked. Yes. The other party is so strong. I have to think of some countermeasures. Knight Sorrow nodded to Heavenly Concubine. After setting up the array, Knight Sorrow entered the Clear Sky Pagoda's time acceleration layer, and continued to refine the poisonous smoke. Xiancheng and Black Armor King brought their people, and stopped at a distance of 20,000 miles from the space tunnel. The people began to set up camp. This was Xiancheng's idea. He said that Knight Sorrow had thrown the poisonous smoke into the crowd. Therefore they had to leave a buffer zone. Whether the people of the celestial realm came out alone or in a group battle, they would have time to react. They could fight step by step. In one day, Knight Sorrow's main body had refined 40 bottles of poisonous smoke. Including the ones he had left, he had 50 bottles in reserve. The poison pearl had also shrunk by a quarter. Knight Sorrow gave Heavenly Concubine, Yawu King, and Grand Elder 2 bottles each. He also told them that there was no antidote for the smoke. They could only avoid it and not face it head-on. Realm Lord Xiancheng, you suffered a great loss last time. This time, we have to be more careful. They already know that we are here. We will set up camp and see if they have any thoughts of attacking. It would be best if we don't let them use the array. Black Armor King said as he watched the people set up camp. Not attacking? Watching? Night Sorrow's doppelganger read Black Armor King's mouth and understood what he meant. Go through the calamity. /for genuine a first and first and first. Chapter 2296. It's a bit urgent. Lord King Yawu, are you not going to persuade him? Heavenly Astral King looked at King Yawu and asked. He was worried that Night Sorrow would be in danger because of the pressure of the battle. King Yawu shook his head. The 8th Emperor's Thunder Calamity is weaker than the 7th Emperor's Thunder Calamity. If Yishang can pass the 7th Emperor's Thunder Calamity, then the 8th Emperor's Thunder Calamity should be fine. King Yawu said that he didn't persuade Night Sorrow because he felt that it was appropriate. After listening to King Yawu's explanation, the others felt more at ease. Everyone was more worried about Night Sorrow's safety. The 8th Emperor Thunder Tribulation was indeed not a big threat. It was similar to the 7th Emperor Thunder Tribulation that Night Sorrow passed. It wasn't dangerous for Night Sorrow, so he passed it easily. After passing the Thunder Tribulation, Night Sorrow returned to the spatial passage and entered the Clear Sky Pagoda to stabilize his realm. Seeing Night Sorrow return safely, Lin Piaomiao let out a sigh of relief. No matter what others said, she had always been worried about Night Sorrow's safety. Very good. Night Sorrow has no problem protecting himself, King Yawu said. In the ancient camp, Xiancheng and Black Armor King sat facing each other. This group of cowards. They only rely on arrays and poison to fight. Otherwise they are trash, Xiancheng said. He was really angry now. When he wasn't strong, the cultivators of the celestial realm would really kill him. Now that the people he brought were strong, the cultivators of the celestial realm didn't come out. It doesn't matter. Let's wait and see how they are going to play. If they are still cowering, then we will break the array and fight our way in. However, that Divine Soul Unity Realm female cultivator that you mentioned, this king has reserved her. The Black Armor King had an arrogant and evil smile on his face. You will die. Night Sorrow's clone, who was observing the situation, had a murderous look on his face. Black Armor King was on his must-kill list. As a partner who had gone through life and death together, he wouldn't allow anyone to blaspheme and insult the heavenly concubine. Night Sorrow also hoped that the ancient cultivator alliance would stabilize a little and give him some time to stabilize his realm. His main body had just broken through, so it would take at least 10 days to stabilize his cultivation. Hearing Black Armor King's words, Xiancheng suppressed the anger in his heart. In the alliance camp, most of the people were from Underworld Castle. If Black Armor King didn't move, Xiancheng couldn't move even if he wanted to. King Yawu and the others didn't know the news, but they knew that the situation was very serious. They arranged a retreat route. Some of the people from the celestial realm were moving. This was not only because the ancient cultivator alliance was strong, but also because they were worried about the threat from the Devil Wing clan and the devil ancestor of the Devil Wing clan. King Yawu and Tran Hung knew that the heavenly concubine's warning wasn't without reason. If they didn't make some backup plans and something really happened in the celestial realm, then it would be a disaster. Their retreat route was to some of the realms near the celestial realm. The realms controlled by Puluo and the Great Devil King had gathered some of the races in the celestial realm. 10 days. After another 10 days, the ancient cultivator alliance still hadn't moved. This made Night Sorrow breathe a sigh of relief. In the time acceleration of the Clear Sky Pagoda, he had cultivated for 600 days. Close to 2 years he had completely stabilized his body. In addition, he had been cultivating in the space of the soul-nurturing grass. His soul power had condensed a lot. Although it wasn't as strong as the Blackhorn Dragon, it had far surpassed cultivators of the same level. After coming out of seclusion and stabilizing his realm, Night Sorrow came out of seclusion. Your spirit is good. This is the aura I want. Sect Elder Duan sized up Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow smiled and greeted Sect Elder Duan and the others. Then he nodded to Lin Piaomiao. He knew that Lin Piaomiao had been suffering during this period and had been worried about him. Look at the L chapter of the C version? Let's go. Looking at Night Sorrow, Lin Piaomiao's eyes were a little moist. She was indeed worried. Okay. When I'm done, I'll stay at home and bring you guys around. Looking at Lin Piaomiao, Night Sorrow's eyes were full of apology. Everyone sat down and chatted. Night Sorrow told them about the ancient cultivator alliance having an array master. Then when he comes in, kill him with all your might. King Yewu said. That guy is called Go Nan. He has a sharp mouth and monkey cheeks. It's easy to recognize him. As long as he dares to step into the celestial realm, we don't care about anything else. We have to kill him first. The unparalleled array must not have any problems. Night Sorrow nodded. After drinking his tea, Night Sorrow thought for a while. He felt that there was no need to let the ancient cultivators stay so comfortably. He could go out and play for a while. He could throw a few bottles of smoke and see the reaction of the ancient cultivator alliance. Night Sorrow's original body entered the spatial tunnel and gave a few bottles of smoke to his clone. The clone held the blood chill and evil slaying spear and rushed towards the ancient cultivator alliance. At this moment, Night Sorrow's clone was extremely fast. In a flash, he was hundreds of miles away. Alert! Black Armor King, the opponent has come out. It's the most dangerous guy. He can release poison. Let's stop him. Seeing Night Sorrow appear, Xianqing shouted to the Black Armor King. Then, he rushed towards Night Sorrow. He wanted to stop Night Sorrow. He knew what kind of situation Night Sorrow was in. If he got close, he would throw bottles of poisonous smoke. When Xianqing came out to stop him, the brothel also moved. Like Xianqing, the brothel knew how big of a threat Night Sorrow was. Back then, when she and Xianqing joined forces, they still couldn't kill Night Sorrow's clone, who was only at the tribulation of the Seven Emperors' realm. Seeing Xianqing and the brothel fight and hearing Xianqing's words, the Black Armor King knew that the situation was a bit serious. So he also moved to stop them. At this moment, Night Sorrow's original body condensed the primordial energy and slowly pierced his spear forward. This spear light was restrained and melted an extremely small spatial hole in the void. Then he controlled the Haotian god Pagoda and entered the void turbulence. In the ancient world's spatial turbulence, he flew towards the ancient cultivator allied army's campsite. Night Sorrow's clone was in the light to stop them. His original body was in the dark, so that he could display his true battle strategy. He was playing the battle strategy of deceiving everyone. 3 Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators came to stop him. Night Sorrow's clone activated the Thousand Realms Defense Body, Void Steps, and Afterimage Body. He drew an arc and ran. He couldn't fight them head-on. When Night Sorrow's clone ran away, Xianqing and the other 2 naturally chased after him. How could they let Night Sorrow escape like this? Their speed was equal. Although Xianqing and the other 2 had a high cultivation level, their attainments in spatial laws weren't as strong as Night Sorrow's. Therefore, their speed was about the same. With the clone restraining them, Night Sorrow's original body in the spatial turbulence approached the ancient cultivator allied army's campsite. With his left hand, Night Sorrow tore apart the space. With his right hand, he threw out the poisonous smoke bottle and used his energy to control it to explode in the allied army's campsite. Hey, this place is exploding! Night Sorrow shouted. With a swipe of his left hand, he smoothed out the spatial crack. Then he started running in the void turbulence. When they discovered that Night Sorrow's original body was messing around in the campsite, Xianqing, the Black Armor King, and the brothel rushed towards the campsite. They noticed that the one who appeared in the campsite was Night Sorrow's original body. Chapter 2297. With the Thousand Realms defense, Space-Time Realm, and Void Steps, Night Sorrow's original body's speed reached the extreme. Xianqing, the prostitute, and Black Armor King couldn't catch up at all. At the entrance of the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow's clone hid while his original body ran back to the celestial realm. Everyone retreat to the formation and prepare for battle. I made them angry. Night Sorrow shouted after returning to the celestial realm. Hearing Night Sorrow shout, King Yawu and the others quickly retreated to the Peerless Great Formation and prepared for battle with their weapons in hand. However, Xian Cheng, the prostitute, and Black Armor King chased to the entrance of the spatial tunnel and didn't enter because they weren't confident. Damn it, let's go back and check the situation of the camp before attacking. Black Armor King roared angrily because he felt that he had been played for a fool. Night Sorrow's clone, who was hiding under the entrance of the spatial tunnel, sneered. He didn't expect Black Armor King and the others to be able to remain calm at this time. However, when he saw the ancient cultivators on the ground in the camp of the ancient cultivators, he knew that his plan had succeeded. He had disrupted the ancient cultivators' formation. Those fellows chased me all the way to the entrance of the spatial passageway before retreating. I don't think their attack will be that fast. I need to rest a bit. Night Sorrow's true body led the group to the core area of the array formation before brewing a pot of tea. Young City Lord, what did you do to make them angry? Lin Yuanjun looked at Night Sorrow with some confusion. I rushed to their camp and threw a few bottles of poisonous smoke. They tried to stop me and chase me, but they couldn't stop me or catch up. So they got angry and chased me to the entrance of the spatial tunnel but didn't enter, Night Sorrow said with a smile. You brat, that was too risky. Elder Duan glared at Night Sorrow. Haha, it's okay. I'll use my clone to restrain them while my original body rushed in. They were caught off guard. This time, they suffered more losses. Night Sorrow said with a smile. He was in a good mood. One charge had disrupted the deployment and plan of the ancient cultivators. The Black Armor King had said that they would attack after observing the situation. However, these words were just empty words. They still had to deal with the aftermath when they returned. Because the original campsite was filled with poisonous smoke, Xian Cheng and Black Armor King brought their men to a new campsite. After a quick count, the Black Armor King realized that he had lost close to a third of his men. He was so angry that he roared towards the sky. Then he shouted for the city to attack. Let's stabilize ourselves first. He might be trying to anger us. We don't know what kind of tricks he has up his sleeves. We have to stabilize ourselves and break the formation first. Then we can break into their world in one fell swoop, Xian Cheng said. The Black Armor King threw a punch to the side. He was extremely angry now. Night Sorrow smiled. He knew that Xian Cheng, Black Armor King, and the others didn't have the courage to attack directly. Detecting that the coalition army of the ancient cultivators did not move, Night Sorrow smiled. This is a net profit. They didn't attack. Very good. However, you can't do this in the future. If there's anything, you can discuss it with everyone. We can also help you restrain them. It's too risky for you to act alone. King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and said. He was really afraid that something would happen to Night Sorrow. This was because the ancient cultivator coalition army had 5 soul uniting realm cultivators. If they really surrounded and killed him, it would be dangerous. Disciple understands. I won't let Martial Uncle worry anymore, Night Sorrow said with a smile. It was another victory. Everyone was very happy. Although the strength of the 100 races in the celestial realm couldn't be compared to the ancient cultivators, the scales of victory would tilt towards them as they accumulated strength step by step. After drinking some wine, Night Sorrow's original body and Lin Piaomiao left the unparalleled Great Array. They arrived at the encampment of the God-slaying team and called for their wives to take a stroll nearby. I'll have to trouble everyone for now. When everything is stable, we'll return to the 9 Domains world to live a peaceful life. Looking at his wives, Night Sorrow's eyes were filled with apology. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Sikong Chuyu and the rest shook their heads. They all knew that Night Sorrow had suffered a lot. Is everything okay at home? Night Sorrow asked. At this moment, Yang Lei, Aoi Sikong Chuyu, and Datura, who were following the God-slaying team, were all clones. Their original bodies were cultivating in the city in the sky. Lin Piaomiao's original body was in the sky desolate city presiding over the elders' meeting. She usually lived in the 9 Domains world and didn't come out often. She didn't like bustling places and preferred a peaceful life in the city in the sky. Very good. You can rest assured. Sikong Chu nodded. That's good. If you're tired, go back. There's not much point in staying here. Night Sorrow looked at his wives and said. Night Sorrow had asked the First Army and the God-slaying team to leave and set up camp in the ethereal Imperial City. However, the two teams were eager to fight and returned. They were still camping outside the unparalleled Great Formation. Night Sorrow didn't chase them away. With the teleportation portal, even if the unparalleled Great Formation was broken, they would have time to retreat. After spending half a day with his wives, Night Sorrow accompanied Lin Piaomiao to go through the tribulation of the Four Kings. Only then did he return to the unparalleled Great Formation. What the hell is going on? Good. Not bad. You really love your family. Seeing Night Sorrow return, Huang Ling smiled and said, My clone is guarding the entrance of the space tunnel. Even if I'm with my family, I don't dare to forget my business. Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's not what I meant. I think you've done well. A man needs to be domineering and gentle. Young City Lord, you've done well, Huang Ling said. While everyone was chatting, Night Sorrow suddenly stood up. Everyone prepare for battle. The other party is going all out this time. What's the situation? King Yawu asked. The other party has 5 godly soul-uniting realm cultivators, the tribulation of the 9 kings, and the array master. They're all approaching the space tunnel. After they enter, Martial Uncle, Heavenly Concubine, Grand Elder, will go all out. We must kill Go Nan. Although the chances of Go Nan breaking the formation aren't high, we must kill him first to make sure nothing goes wrong. Night Sorrow set the first target. Okay. King Yawu and the others nodded. Night Sorrow's clone had returned. However, it was still in the space tunnel. Night Sorrow's main body had also brought the others into the space tunnel. He wouldn't let go of an opportunity to launch a sneak attack. He wasn't the only one who'd done this before. Xiancheng and Xiaoxi had done it before. Night Sorrow used the Thousand Realms defense body to protect everyone. They stayed at the side of the space tunnel. 5 Sumeru Space World Lines. Night Sorrow, your Thousand Realms defense body has reached a certain level. Heavenly Concubine noticed Night Sorrow's Thousand Realms defense body. She knew how difficult it was to cultivate this absolute art. In the history of the Devil Wing clan, only one person had successfully cultivated it. That was the result of many years of research. Night Sorrow's cultivation time couldn't be compared to that person. As for the difference in Jin Qi, Night Sorrow's primordial attribute had already closed the gap to the tiniest, so he couldn't withstand a single attack from the Black Armor King. Slash. Night Sorrow's body shifted slightly as his Samsara halberd slashed towards Go Nan. At this moment, after his doppelganger had repelled the prostitute, the blood-chilling evil-slaying spear also slashed towards Xiancheng. Go Nan retreated, but at this moment, the Heavenly Concubine's attack arrived. The Compassion Sword Chi shot towards Go Nan. Go Nan, with his tribulation of 7 Emperors cultivation, had nowhere to retreat, so he could only wave his sword to block. The Heavenly Concubine's sword Chi sent his body flying unstably. Void Step. Night Sorrow's original body used Void Step. With a flash, he appeared in front of Go Nan again. The Samsara halberd's attack didn't change. Go Nan, who raised his battle blade to block again, couldn't resist at all. He was sent flying into the array by Night Sorrow's attack. After sending Go Nan into the array, Night Sorrow turned around and attacked one of the tribulation of 9 Emperors cultivators. As for Go Nan, Night Sorrow knew that once he was sent into the array, he would be suppressed and killed. There was no chance for him to survive. That was the truth. Go Nan's tribulation of 7 Emperors cultivation was higher than the Blood-Chilling King, the Golden Dragon King, and the others, but he was already heavily injured. Furthermore, he was bombarded by the array to the point where he didn't even know his direction. Shenlin saved Go Nan. Black Armor King, who was chasing after Night Sorrow, shouted to one of his Divine Soul Unity Realm subordinates. He knew how dangerous the array was, so he didn't dare to enter. However, because of Go Nan's importance, he couldn't give up, so he shouted to his subordinate. The Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivator in the Dark Realm castle called Shenlin was stunned. His eyes were filled with anger. He was a divine soul unity realm cultivator. Normally he respected Black Armor King, but he was naturally unwilling to die for Black Armor King. While Shenlin was stunned, King Yawu's long spear was attacking him. He was also planning to send him into the array. At this moment, the heavenly concubine, who had already killed a tribulation of 9 emperors cultivator, flapped her Holy Spirit wings and came to help. If they could send a divine soul unity realm cultivator into the unparalleled array, then slowly surround and kill him, it would be a great victory. Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger waved their weapons, constantly repelling Black Armor King and Xiancheng. At the same time, they attacked the brothel to buy time for King Yawu and the heavenly concubine. The Grand Elder retreated. Because he wasn't strong enough, he couldn't suppress others. Instead, he was besieged by others. The battle was very intense. Night Sorrow attacked from behind King Yawu and the heavenly concubine. He waved his 2 long spears, repelling the ancient cultivators who attacked him. As for the energy slashes and sword chi of the tribulation of 9 emperors cultivators, Night Sorrow directly ignored them. With his merit taboo primordial Dao domain, his Thousand Realms defense could completely ignore these energy attacks. Shenlin, who was besieged, was emotionally unstable because of Black Armor King's words. He was constantly being attacked by King Yawu and the heavenly concubine. Seeing that he was about to enter the unparalleled array, Shenlin roared and blocked the heavenly concubine's long sword with his battle saber. Go in! The heavenly concubine kicked Shenlin's chest in the air, kicking him into the unparalleled array. The demon-winged clan's cultivation talent was high. First, they had wings, and second, they had strong bodies. Shenlin couldn't stand steadily after the heavenly concubine's kick. Seeing that the Grand Elder had retreated to the center of the array to control Shenlin, King Yawu and the heavenly concubine turned around to help Night Sorrow fight. The 3 of them formed the 4 symbols combined formation and targeted the cultivators of the tribulation of 9 emperors. The battle was very intense. The main reason was that Night Sorrow's strength couldn't be suppressed. Whoever dared to take it head-on would only end up being repelled or sent flying. After sending 2 cultivators of the tribulation of 9 emperors into the array, Night Sorrow decided to retreat. He was fine, but King Yawu and the heavenly concubine were injured. Although it wasn't serious, Night Sorrow didn't want this kind of accumulation of injuries to continue. Before Night Sorrow shouted for them to retreat, Black Armor King shouted for them to retreat. He was afraid that Night Sorrow and the other 2 would continue to deal with the cultivators of the tribulation of 9 emperors. In addition, the poisonous smoke was also fatal. 2 of his subordinates had already been infected by the smoke and died. Black Armor King Xiancheng and the prostitute retreated. Night Sorrow and the other 2 couldn't stop them, so they didn't chase after them. Chapter 2299. Under the attacks of Night Sorrow's 2 bodies and the soul destruction slash, Shenlin could only hold on for a while before he was killed by Night Sorrow. His soul was destroyed. At this time, Heavenly Concubine and King Yawu also finished killing. The group gathered at the core of the formation. L4K on New M, I Chapter Most M, Martial Uncle, Heavenly Concubine, are you guys alright? Night Sorrow saw that the 2 of them had been attacked by energy. Martial Uncle, it's just a small problem. Once we enter the spatial treasure, we will recover in 7 or 8 days. The battle will affect us, but it won't affect us much, King Yawu said. My situation is the same. Some injuries are unavoidable in battle. I just need some time to deal with it. Heavenly Concubine nodded at Night Sorrow. Young City Lord, it seems like you're the only one fine. Huangling looked at Night Sorrow and said, I'm the only one fine. This is a great victory. Let's see how they play. Night Sorrow said with a smile. He was in a good mood. Young City Lord's defense and power are too terrifying. Other than being weaker than his opponent in terms of true chi, he has the complete advantage in all other aspects, the Golden Dragon King said. Martial Uncle, Heavenly Concubine, you guys enter the spatial treasure to recover. I'll go to the spatial tunnel to take a look. If anything happens, I'll shake your spatial treasure. Night Sorrow said to King Yawu and Heavenly Concubine. It's not that troublesome. We'll enter your spatial treasure. Just shake your soul, and we'll be ready to fight at any time, Heavenly Concubine said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow thought about it, and didn't refuse. He took out the clear sky pagoda, and placed it in the living area of the Peerless Great Formation. King Yawu and Heavenly Concubine nodded at Night Sorrow and directly entered. They had to make the best use of their time. It was important to maintain their peak condition. Night Sorrow, be careful. They could sneak attack you last time. They can do it again this time, the Grand Elder said worriedly. He looked at Night Sorrow's eyes with worry and admiration, because Night Sorrow's combat power had surpassed his by a lot. Night Sorrow could fight with Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators, and even had the upper hand. However, he was suppressed by Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators. It was completely different. True. I'll be careful. Also, I need to deal with the poisonous smoke at the spatial passageway. Night Sorrow planned to banish the smoke at the spatial passageway into chaotic space. Because of the Peerless Grand Array and the control of the Sealing Array, the smoke released by Night Sorrow had yet to spread, and it couldn't spread. Can't we just leave it be? If they come in, it will still harm them. The Heavenly Astral King asked. Yeah, let's just leave it as it is. If we don't go over, whoever comes in will be unlucky. Night Sorrow smiled. He really didn't think in this direction. Then when you go over, won't you be in danger too? Lin Pumiao asked. I'm proficient in ripple force. With my Dao domain, the poisonous smoke can't hurt me. Night Sorrow nodded at Lin Pumiao. His wife's concern warmed his heart. At this moment, there was a sudden change in the world. Auspicious clouds appeared in the sky as golden lotuses spun and descended. The ground shone with a golden radiance, resonating with the golden lotuses in the sky. It's here. It's finally here. Night Sorrow looked up at the sky and understood. After repelling the invasion of the Ancient Cultivator Alliance, and killing a Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivator in the Celestial Realm, Night Sorrow's merit cultivation finally broke through the bottleneck that he had been stuck at for a long time, and entered the Merit Emperor level. The sound of nature was melodious as the golden lotuses floated. Guided by the auspicious clouds, Night Sorrow's body floated up into the sky, and received the baptism of the golden lotuses and auspicious clouds. Merit Emperor, you can call him the Merit Emperor now. Our celestial realm's 100 races have been passed down for 1,000 reincarnations. Finally, someone has become the Merit Emperor. The Grand Elder looked up at Night Sorrow with tears in his eyes because his heart was at ease. No matter how difficult it was now, the celestial realm would be stable in the future. Even if it fell, they could fight back in the future. He didn't have much lifespan left. Seeing hope comforted him. Night Sorrow's Dharma robe changed. The Dharma robe that was originally flowing with Tao aura turned golden. Human Tao scriptures were truly flowing on it. Not only did the people of the celestial realm in the Peerless Great Array see this scene, but the members of the First Army and the God-slaying team also saw this scene. Everywhere in the celestial realm, the scene of the ancient world's passageway appeared. Tran Hung, who was far away in the heavenly desolate city, also saw this scene. His eyes were filled with gratification. He knew what this meant. When the crisis of the ancient cultivators was resolved, they could try to attack the Demon Imperial City. The Demon Imperial City's defense might not be able to withstand the fire of merit at the level of a great emperor. Shaluo, that's your father. What's going on? Lu Yu, who was in the divine capital, looked at Yi Shaluo after seeing the image in the sky. Originally, Yi Shaluo's group was at the ancient world's spatial passageway, but they were chased away by Datura. She was worried about the safety of this group of juniors. It's my father. It's a natural phenomenon. It should be caused by some breakthrough, Yi Shaluo said. The Merit Emperor. The unprecedented Merit Emperor has appeared. Shaluo, your father has become the Merit Emperor. Lu Qi bowed to the golden figure in the sky. Yi Shaluo and the others did the same. The celestial realm will soon overcome the darkness before dawn and welcome the dawn. Lu Qi's voice was trembling because of the excitement in his heart. I want to see my father, Yi Shaluo said and walked toward the teleportation array. The Nine Zones world was like the celestial realm. They had natural phenomena. Night Sorrow was the origin realm master of the Nine Zones world. His ascension was the 9 Zones World's ascension. This situation lasted for 6 hours before it dissipated. Night Sorrow also returned to the surface. Everything was normal. The only difference was that the golden words on Night Sorrow's robe were still flowing. Greetings, Great Emperor. The Grand Elder took the lead and bowed together with the clan leaders of the mythological beast clan. The Merit Emperor had a noble status and was revered by billions of holy spirits. This was the rule of the heavens. Sect Elder Duan, don't be like this. Night Sorrow reached out and helped everyone up. This matter must be reported to the Celestial Realm's 100 tribes. It must be reported to all parts of the Celestial Realm. This is a milestone in the development of the Celestial Realm's 100 tribes, the Golden Dragon King said. There's no need to mobilize so many people. I didn't expect that I would improve while resolving the crisis. Night Sorrow said with a smile. At this moment, he felt the changes in his body. His Merit Dao body was strengthened again. Every bit of flesh in his body had a golden glow. The divine infant's head was full of golden light rippling. An immortal body. His current body was an immortal body. Indeed, there's no need to report. Auspicious signs have descended everywhere in the celestial realm. Everyone knows about it, the Grand Elder said. I'll be in seclusion for a few days. However, my clone will guard the spatial passage. Night Sorrow finished speaking and entered the clear sky pagoda. Chapter 2300. The cultivators of the 100 races of the celestial realm were very happy, because they were sure that the predicament was only temporary. Hope was right in front of them. The birth of the Merit Emperor meant that the future was bright. Night Sorrow familiarized himself with his situation in the clear sky pagoda. His Merit Dao body's power increased again. The energy circulating in his body had a golden glow. Percent A equals 1V hair 2F powerful. Night Sorrow thought he was powerful. If his cultivation wasn't at the 8th Emperor Tribulation, the energy wouldn't be able to hurt him. This was the power of the Merit Emperor. One had to know that with the defense of the Thousand Realms defense body, Night Sorrow's Divine Soul Unison Realm attacks wouldn't reach this level. In other words, Divine Soul Unison Realm cultivators wouldn't be able to hurt him as long as he didn't consume too much energy. Night Sorrow was very satisfied with his situation. Of course, he knew that he still had to work hard. He had the defensive power, but the offensive power had to be strengthened. Divine Soul Unison Realm cultivators couldn't hurt him now. The shield was strong enough, but the spear still needed to be cultivated. After stabilizing time in the real world for half a month, Night Sorrow came out of seclusion. King Yawu and the others congratulated Night Sorrow. You don't need to be the young city lord of the Tianhuang city and the divine capital city anymore. The Merit Emperor is worthy of being the leader of the 100 races of the celestial realm, and the commander of the 100 races alliance army, King Yawu said. He knew that Night Sorrow didn't need the identity of the young city lord of the celestial realm anymore. It wasn't suitable for him at the moment. In the past, Tran Hung and King Yawu arranged the identity of the young city lord for Night Sorrow, because they hoped that Night Sorrow would have the prestige to command troops. Now that this identity wasn't suitable, it would reduce the prestige of the Merit Emperor. The Merit Emperor didn't need any identity to confirm his position. Martial uncle, you're exaggerating. Night Sorrow is still Night Sorrow, Night Sorrow said. Not at all. You are the human emperor with the highest achievement in the history of merit and virtue. You deserve the title of Merit and Virtue Great Emperor. You can command all corners of the celestial realm, Elder Duan said with a smile. The advancement of Night Sorrow's power of virtue was a joyous occasion. The group celebrated in the living area at the core of the formation. After drinking a bowl of wine, King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and asked, Night Sorrow, how does the promotion of the power of merit affect my combat strength? The most important aspect is that the defensive power of my body and the suppressive power of my Dao domain have undergone a qualitative improvement. Night Sorrow said. He didn't hide anything from King Yawu and the seniors present. There was no need to hide anything from them. What's the situation like when you fight against an ancient cultivator of the Divine Soul Unity realm? King Yawu asked. Of course, it's a different story if we're surrounded, Night Sorrow said with a smile. King Yawu took another big gulp of wine. He was very happy. Night Sorrow's combat strength had increased. The most important thing was that Night Sorrow had a clone, which was equivalent to 2 cultivators of the Divine Soul Unity realm. The key was that Night Sorrow still had room for improvement. If he improved further, he would have the strength to easily kill a cultivator of the Divine Soul Unity realm. After celebrating, Night Sorrow stood outside the campsite. The Heavenly Concubine and Lin Piaomiao stood behind him. "Why don't you drink more?" the Heavenly Concubine asked. "Too much pressure. The more power you have, the more pressure you have. When you're strong, you have to face some things. You have to face ancient cultivators and the Demon Wing clan that I don't want to improve in front of you," Night Sorrow said. "There's nothing that can't be mentioned. I've given up on the past. As for why I don't want to fight the Demon Wing clan, it's because of some old feelings in my heart," the Heavenly Concubine said. "It's been hard on you. In the past, I didn't care about your feelings. But now that we're friends, I'll do my best for my friends." Night Sorrow turned to look at the Heavenly Concubine and nodded. "Thank you. When we're done with the ancient cultivators, we'll consider the matter of the Demon Wing clan. In addition, you should continue to improve your strength. When you improve your strength, it will completely surpass the strength of other cultivators of the Divine Soul Unity realm. In this state, every bit of strength is precious," the Heavenly Concubine said. Night Sorrow, Protector Heavenly Concubine is right. You can't rush into battle. You're still in the process of improving your strength. If you can improve, then do it. You have to fight in your strongest state. That's the most sensible thing to do, Lin Piaomiao said. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood this logic. For the time being, he didn't have any plans to fight. It was fine as long as he could stabilize the situation. In addition, he knew that Xiancheng and Black Armor King wouldn't attack for the time being. It should be said that they couldn't afford to attack. In the camp of the Ancient World Alliance army, Xiancheng and Black Armor King were sitting opposite each other. Both of them were at their wits' end. Looking at the huge fat meat in front of them, they just couldn't eat it. They couldn't restrain the wolf smoke. In addition, they couldn't break through the defensive array of the celestial realm. Only Gonan, who was proficient in arrays, had died in battle. Realm Lord Xiancheng, you and I are clear about the current situation. Both of us can't win. It's impossible for both of us to eat this meat. Why don't we join forces with a few more forces? Black Armor King looked at Xiancheng and asked. Although I don't wish for too many forces to participate, we can't not join forces with other forces. I agree with the Castle Lord's opinion. Xiancheng nodded. When we're done, I'll slaughter those damned people. Black Armor King was furious because his subordinate, Shen Lin, had died in battle. He was the backbone of the Dark Realm Ancient Castle. Subsequently, Xiancheng and Black Armor King sent people to contact other forces. They must conquer the Celestial Realm, because it was related to resources and their future. Night Sorrow's clone went out to investigate once. When he found that the Ancient Cultivator Alliance army wasn't moving, he didn't bother. It was good that everyone was at peace. He needed time to cultivate. Mo Yuqing's main body found Mo Zhantian, and reported the news she received. Merit Emperor, could it be that our era is destined to be a dormant era? Mo Zhantian felt very powerless. He more or less understood the Merit Emperor's situation. He was also someone who had grasped the power of faith. Right now, the 100 races of the Celestial Realm are fighting fervently. However, the battle with the ancient cultivators hasn't started yet. In other words, the situation hasn't started yet because the spatial tunnel is still sealed. Mo Yuqing said the second situation. I've heard about the Ancient World Group. It's not so easy to solve. Those are cultivators with long inheritances. They don't have any resources. Therefore, when they know about the existence of the Supreme World and the World Domain, they will be like wolves that have seen their prey. They won't give up easily. However, if the Merit Emperor is in the Celestial Realm, it'll be hard for the ancient cultivators to conquer it, let alone the future Supreme World. Mo Zhantian wasn't optimistic about the ancient cultivators. Lord Divine Ancestor, the Devil Ancestor's palace emitted a strong energy fluctuation. At this moment, Mo Lu appeared at Mo Zhantian's cultivation area. Chapter 2301. When Mo Zhantian arrived at the demon ancestor's palace, he immediately rushed inside but was stopped by the energy waves. Mo Zhantian's expression changed. He bit his finger and activated his bloodline power before entering the palace. Inside the palace, the demon ancestor's huge body was lying there. There was a halo of energy around his body. The halo was fluctuating constantly. Most importantly, his chest was moving up and down. Awakening. Mo Zhantian knelt on the ground. His heart was filled with shock and excitement because the demon ancestor was breathing. This was a sign of awakening. After confirming again, Mo Zhantian kowtowed. He was originally in despair, but now his heart was filled with hope. Mo Zhantian was originally full of confidence, thinking that he could defeat the 100 races of the celestial realm. However, after being severely injured, he lost his confidence because he was no match for Tran Hung and King Yiwu. In addition, the appearance of the Merit Emperor of the celestial realm was a huge blow to his confidence. Now that the demon ancestor was showing signs of awakening, Mo Zhantian saw hope again. The demon ancestor was the strongest expert in the history of the demon-winged clan, who was the closest to passing the god-destroying tribulation. He was already a half-step divine emperor. After awakening and recovering, he would immediately have unparalleled combat power. He would be the strongest expert under the god-destroying tribulation. From today onwards, no one is allowed to approach the demon ancestor's palace. Anyone who approaches will be killed without mercy. Mo Zhantian ordered. He even decided to guard the palace himself until the demon ancestor woke up. Night Sorrow began to cultivate again. He seized the opportunity to improve his strength. He had enough resources to cultivate his body. In addition to the resources from Tianhuang City and Shindu City, Night Sorrow had obtained a lot from the battle. Last time, when the ancient cultivators had attacked, Yishang had killed Xinlin. Xinlin was a demonic beast that had cultivated successfully. The essence blood in his body was a cultivation resource for Yishang. There was also a cultivator of the tribulation of the 9 emperors, who was also a demonic beast. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. King Yiwu and the others were relieved, because there was hope. They knew that the predicament was only temporary. As long as Night Sorrow was given more time, he would be able to sweep the battlefield. Night Sorrow's clone had been monitoring the movements of the ancient cultivator allied army at the entrance of the spatial passageway, while his original body had been cultivating inside the Clear Heaven Pagoda. Time slowly slipped away. The troops of the allied army of ancient cultivators gathered again, and the number of troops was increasing. Xiancheng and Black Armor King didn't suppress the spread of the news. The ancient cultivators who had left the Fire King city also spread the news. Some ancient cultivator factions also gathered. Because Xiancheng and the Black Armor King had a tacit understanding, the two of them were the commanders of the allied army. It was also because their subordinates were the strongest, and they were the first to arrive. Xiancheng and Black Armor King also had a common understanding. If they didn't work together, they wouldn't be able to suppress the others. Only by working together could they control the situation. Night Sorrow could see the movements of the ancient cultivators, but he did not care. No matter how many ancient cultivators there were, it was useless if they could not break in. In addition, he also had a plan. As soon as the allied army of ancient cultivators showed signs of attacking, he would take action and throw a few more bottles of poisonous smoke to throw the allied army into chaos. In addition, Night Sorrow felt that even if the ancient cultivators attacked, they wouldn't be a threat. This was because the surroundings of the spatial passageway were filled with poisonous smoke. In addition, the power of the unparalleled Greater Ray had been tested. It could withstand the wind and rain, and it could withstand attacks. This was Night Sorrow's confidence. The confidence that allowed him to cultivate steadily without worry. Night Sorrow didn't do anything, but the troops of the celestial realm were calm. It could be said that the troops of the celestial realm were all under the influence of Night Sorrow. When Night Sorrow was relaxed, the others were relaxed. When Night Sorrow was nervous, the others would prepare for war. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, 20 years had passed. The ancient cultivators had gathered a terrifying number of troops. Their combat strength was several times stronger than that of the celestial realm. There were 10 Soul Unity Realm cultivators. However, because they didn't have the ability to deal with the poisonous smoke and break the array, they didn't attack. 20 years had passed in the real world. Night Sorrow came out of seclusion in the Clear Sky Pagoda after 100 years. His physical cultivation had reached the late stage of the 8th Emperor Tribulation. His Chi realm was also close to the 8th Emperor Tribulation. However, he had consumed a lot of resources. He came out of seclusion because he had run out of resources. After cultivating for 100 years, Night Sorrow had used up the blood essence of high-level demonic beasts that he had collected. The spirit stones below the Monarch Spirit Stone were also used up, because he had used all his strength to break through to the Chi realm. This was a huge consumption. This situation also let Night Sorrow know where the ancient cultivator's determination to attack the celestial realm came from. Without resources, it was too difficult to achieve anything. Sister Xianer, do me a favor. After drinking tea with everyone, Night Sorrow said to Lin Piaomiao. What is it? Lin Piaomiao was puzzled. She didn't know what Night Sorrow wanted to do. I have run out of resources. Sister Xian, go to the 9-domain world's Heaven Sealing Palace to get resources from my 9-domain clone. Night Sorrow said to Lin Piaomiao. Phew. I thought it was something big. Lin Piaomiao smiled. Our human emperor has a lot of resources. He's going back to his nest to get resources. Huang Ling smiled. Everyone was in a good mood after Night Sorrow came out of seclusion. A lot of resources. No, I have used up most of my resources. The ones in the 9-domain world are only a small portion of the resources I have. Night Sorrow shook his head. He was really poor now. It's that serious? King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and frowned. It's because of the attributes. Because I was in a hurry, I completely relied on spirit stones. It's a waste. Night Sorrow nodded. Night Sorrow, you can't cultivate like this. It will cause your foundation to be unstable. Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow with a worried expression. I know. I won't do this anymore. I want to break through to the 8th Emperor Tribulation, and then adjust my cultivation base to the 8th Emperor Tribulation. It should be enough. The Ancient Cultivator Alliance is ready. I, Night Sorrow, am also ready. Let's see who is more prepared. Night Sorrow let out a breath. King Yawu and the others nodded. They knew that Night Sorrow was in a hurry. He was in a hurry to suppress and kill Divine Soul Unity Realm experts. In the following days, Night Sorrow didn't cultivate. He just relaxed. He planned to settle the Ancient Cultivator Alliance after he calmed down. After years of bitter cultivation, Night Sorrow was confident that he could kill his way out of the Ancient Cultivator Alliance. Not only had his body reached the late stage of the 8th Emperor Tribulation, but his true energy realm had reached the peak of the 7th Emperor Tribulation. His 1,000 Realms defense had also improved. Now he had reached the 7 Realms defense. However, the 7th Realm defense was still in its embryonic form. After years of planning, Xian Cheng, Black Armor King, and the others came up with a plan. They worked together to break the formation. They didn't split up. They attacked the formation with brute force, and destroyed it with brute force. When Xian Cheng and the others had black chains on their shoulders, Night Sorrow knew he had to make a move. The ancient cultivators were about to make a move. Chapter 2302. Night Sorrow planned to intimidate them. Previously, he had intimidated them with his methods. This time, he would intimidate them with his strength. On the Celestial Realm's side, King Yawu and the Heavenly Concubine were a little worried. They had investigated some time ago and knew the strength of the ancient world's cultivators. Now that Night Sorrow wanted to attack, it was risky. King Yawu, let's go out and take a look. If necessary, we must provide support, the Heavenly Concubine said. King Yawu nodded. His precept domain vibrated. He entered the spatial tunnel with the Heavenly Concubine, who had used the same method to block the poisonous smoke. At this time, Night Sorrow, who was approaching the united army, raised his left arm and signaled to King Yawu and the Heavenly Concubine not to get too close. Xian Cheng, Black Armor King, didn't you want to fight? I'm here. Knight Sorrow waved his samsara halberd and shouted at the ancient cultivator united army. Your world relies on formations to hide like a turtle. You're only relying on your fast legs. Otherwise you're trash. Xianqing stood out. His eyes were about to spit fire because Xianhua had died under Yishang's scheme. The winner is king, and the loser is a thief. What's the point of saying this to me? Knight Sorrow smiled. Then what are you doing here? Come out to embarrass yourself and then run back? Xianqing's eyes were full of disdain. Haha. You're so arrogant. Let your subordinates draw a circle and fight to the death. If they run out of the circle, they will kill themselves. Otherwise, heaven and man will abandon them. Do you dare? Knight Sorrow smiled. Do you dare to swear an oath? Xianqing was stunned. He knew that Knight Sorrow was stronger, but he was not afraid. He did not understand what Knight Sorrow was doing, but he was afraid that Knight Sorrow would run away. Therefore, he planned to use an oath to trap Knight Sorrow. Yishang smiled. He was more than happy to be bound by an oath. Today he was here to kill people and to intimidate them openly. He wanted to let the ancient cultivators know the strength of the heaven realm. In the future, they would have to think twice before attacking. As Xianqing waved his hand, Qingjia drew a circle with his weapon. In order to let Xianqing take advantage of his high cultivation and limit Knight Sorrow's speed and movement, Qingjia drew a very small circle. Looking at the circle, Knight Sorrow shook his head. Who was the limit? His defense was tyrannical, and the thing he was least afraid of was a head-on clash. He was good at battles with small movements. Regardless of life and death, you've been abandoned by both heaven and man. It's your turn. Xianqing's body flashed and entered the circle. Knight Sorrow swore the same oath and entered the circle. At this time, Heavenly Concubine and King Yawu, who were some distance away, took out their memory crystal balls at the same time. They knew Knight Sorrow's goal. What followed was a classic battle of intimidation and slaughter. They wanted to record this classic. As soon as Knight Sorrow entered the circle, Xianqing's body flashed and slashed toward Knight Sorrow's head. He wanted to kill Knight Sorrow and establish his prestige in the alliance. He wanted to kill Knight Sorrow and cut off the stumbling block on his way to invade the celestial realm. Therefore, he attacked fiercely and without holding back. Taking a step forward, Knight Sorrow's samsara halberd pierced toward Xianqing's chest. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Seeing that Knight Sorrow didn't dodge, Xianqing's eyes widened, and he attacked with the greatest strength. He wasn't afraid of Knight Sorrow's attack, because he felt that his attack would hit Knight Sorrow first and push Knight Sorrow back. In that case, Knight Sorrow's attack would collapse on its own. Buzz. A strong spatial vibration appeared. 7 Sumeru spatial lines appeared around Knight Sorrow's body. These 7 Sumeru spatial lines instantly swallowed most of Xianqing's blade aura. Only a small part of it hit Knight Sorrow's body. It only made Knight Sorrow's robe shake a little. At this time, Knight Sorrow's samsara halberd landed squarely on Xianqing's chest, directly annihilating a large transparent hole in Xianqing's chest. Merit Taboo Primordial Dao Domain. At the crucial moment, Knight Sorrow released his Dao domain and pressed it toward Xianqing. He didn't want Xianqing to have a chance to retreat. Xianqing, who had been severely injured by Knight Sorrow, was shocked. He hurriedly tried to retreat, but Knight Sorrow's Merit Taboo Primordial Dao domain suppression tightened the space around him. He couldn't retreat. Destroy. Knight Sorrow let out a low roar. The samsara halberd slashed across Xianqing's chest and destroyed everything from his neck to his head. At the same time, the Emperor-level fire of virtue enveloped Xianqing's soul body and started burning it. With just one move, Knight Sorrow destroyed Xianqing's body and took control of his soul body. Knight Sorrow didn't attack Xianqing's soul body. Instead, he focused his attention on the other members of the ancient Cultivator Alliance army. His Dao domain and fire of virtue were tyrannical. They suppressed Xianqing's soul body in his Dao domain and burned it. Xianqing's soul body couldn't escape. You want to kill me just like that? If you don't have the qualifications, who else can do it? Don't play tricks with me, and don't think of attacking me together. It's useless. Knight Sorrow looked at the group of ancient cultivators and said slowly, "Read novels for free for all eternity." The ancient cultivators didn't move. The 9 Divine Soul Unification Realm cultivators didn't move either. Night Sorrow's move was too frightening. Xiancheng was killed with just one move. Although he underestimated his opponent, it also showed how tyrannical Night Sorrow was. Is there anyone coming? If not, I'll go back. I'm here today to tell you that don't have any ideas about the celestial realm. From today onwards, I'll kill whoever enters the spatial passage. If you don't believe me, you can try. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, his body flew backward. As he flew backward, his body became illusory. When he reappeared, he was in front of the heavenly concubine and King Yewu. The fire of virtue in his Tao domain was still burning. Xiancheng's soul body couldn't escape. Domineering. King Yewu's eyes were filled with shock and joy. Night Sorrow's performance was too strong. Xiancheng, who was at the Divine Soul Unification Realm, had his body destroyed in one move. His soul body was controlled. This kind of combat strength had never appeared since ancient times. Go back and drink. Let them think. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he entered the spatial passage. He really wanted to give the ancient cultivators time. He hoped that they would retreat on their own. War was accompanied by slaughter. Night Sorrow felt that it was better to avoid it if possible. Night Sorrow and the other 2 left. Black Armor King, the brothel, and the others didn't say anything. They were indeed shocked. None of the 9 Divine Soul Unification Realm cultivators dared to say that they were stronger than Xiancheng. Now that Xiancheng was killed, they were also in danger. Black Armor King, what should we do? The brothel looked at Black Armor King. What should we do? Giving up means giving up our resources. Giving up the resources of a supreme world. If we fight alone, we won't be a match for this guy. Black Armor King's eyes turned red. Although he felt sad for the death of his kind, the most important thing was that he couldn't eat the meat. My lords, we don't have to fight him head-on. We can just charge together and break through their defense to enter their world. Then we can rely on our own abilities to find opportunities. Those who are targeted by him can only blame their bad luck. Green Armor said. He was about to reach the Divine Soul Unification Realm, but he didn't have any resources. Chapter 2303. Without resources, progress would be slow, or even impossible. Many ancient cultivators were like Qing Jia. They had the ability to reach the next level, but without the support of resources, they would risk their lives. As for the Divine Soul Uniting Realm ancient cultivators, they were the strongest below the deity-destroying tribulation. However, in order to pass the deity-destroying tribulation, they worked hard to cultivate absolute arts. Cultivating absolute arts required the support of resources, so attacking a new world with resources was in line with the interests of all ancient cultivators. Qing Jia's idea is not bad. Black Armor King nodded. Just now he was a little shaken, but then he gave up. He didn't have much lifespan left. If he didn't fight, he wasn't confident that he could pass the deity-destroying tribulation and still die. That's right. If there's a chance, we'll fight. After we go in, we'll plunder one round and then retreat. As for those who are caught and killed by him, they can only blame it on their own bad luck. The prostitute sighed. He saw with his own eyes how unlucky his 2 brothers, the Realm Lord Xianhua and the Second Realm Lord Xiancheng of the ancient Profound Ice Realm, fell in front of him. When passing through the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow's doppelganger hid again. His original body went through the spatial tunnel. After a few stabs with the Samsara halberd, Xiancheng's soul was annihilated, leaving behind a spiritual nascent pearl. Haha! The predicament is finally over. Great! After returning to the core living area of the unparalleled Great Array, King Yewu roared and threw the memory crystal ball to Sect Elder Duan and the others. He was very happy. The heavenly concubine was a little distracted. She was also shocked. She knew Night Sorrow, but she didn't expect that Night Sorrow's combat power was at the level where he could kill a Divine Soul Uniting Realm cultivator in one move. With Night Sorrow at this level, the Demon Wing clan's end was near. Sect Elder Duan, the Golden Dragon King, and the others who were looking at the memory crystal ball kept clapping and cheering. They were clear about Xiancheng's strength and status. Night Sorrow killed him in a short period of time. This meant that the peak combat power of the celestial realm far surpassed the ancient cultivators. We still have to fight. These guys still haven't given up. Night Sorrow, who was drinking a cup of tea, shook his head helplessly. His doppelganger found out the plan of the Black Armor King and the others. What's going on? Why aren't they retreating? King Yawu was stunned for a moment. He felt that the ancient cultivators should retreat after seeing Night Sorrow's combat strength, because it was easy to die if they attacked. We underestimated their desire for resources. I will fight in a while. Sect Elder Duan will control the array formation. If any ancient cultivators rush into the array formation recklessly, Uncle Master, Heavenly Concubine, you have to restrain them, said Night Sorrow. There are so many of them. If they attack without regard for anything else, the operation and consumption of the formation will indeed be great. King Yawu said. The unparalleled Grand Matrix was indeed powerful, but there were too many top ancient cultivators. There were 9 Divine Soul Unification Realm cultivators, and more than 20 cultivators of the Tribulation of the 9 Emperors. Everyone knew how strong the impact was. I can only make the first move. Night Sorrow put down his teacup and shook his head. He passed through the poisonous smoke area and entered the space passageway. He walked side by side with his doppelganger and walked toward the allied army of ancient cultivators. Seeing Night Sorrow appear, the Black Armor King, the prostitute, and the others in the ancient cultivators' camp were shocked. One Night Sorrow was already very terrifying. Now there were 2 of them. Their cultivation levels and the energy contained in their bodies were almost the same. I originally thought that killing Xiancheng would be a warning to you, and that you would retreat. However, the situation now is that you don't want to lose face. I gave you a way to live, but you want to walk the path of death. Then let's fight. After saying that, Night Sorrow and his doppelganger released their Dao domains and the Thousand Realms defense body. Then, they charged toward the allied army of ancient cultivators. Over the years, every time the allied army of ancient cultivators had a plan to attack, Night Sorrow would take action to disrupt it. This was because the celestial realm was in great danger. Now that Night Sorrow had taken action, it was also to weaken the impact of the ancient cultivators on the celestial realm. Since Night Sorrow had attacked, the ancient cultivators naturally would not sit still and wait for death. Xiancheng had died in battle because they did not have time to support and rescue him. Now that Night Sorrow had appeared, they naturally had to kill him. They had to surround and kill him. This was partly because Night Sorrow was an obstacle to their invasion of the New World. Another reason was that Night Sorrow also represented resources. Working together to kill Night Sorrow was in the interest of all the ancient cultivators. A great battle. The true peak battle was a group battle to kill the strongest cultivators below the God Tribulation. Read novels for free forever. Energy shot in all directions. The void cracked, and spatial cracks filled the sky. Night Sorrow and his doppelganger cooperated in battle. His merit Dao domain was also released to the maximum. This time he did not hold back. He could not, and did not need to hold back in this great battle. Ancient cultivators were constantly sent flying and severely injured by Night Sorrow. Green Armor and Extreme Flow were dead. Although there were 9 cultivators at the Divine Soul Integration realm besieging him, Night Sorrow's movement technique was fast. In addition, he did not care about the sputtering energy attacks. After dodging the attacks of Black Armor King and the others, Night Sorrow killed Green Armor and Extreme Flow first. How dare you come up with such a bad idea? I've said it before. If you have any ideas about the Celestial Realm, you have to die. After killing Green Armor, Night Sorrow roared. Black Armor King and the prostitute understood something. They had always been under Night Sorrow's surveillance. Green Armor had died because he had a plan to violently attack the Celestial Realm. This was also the reason why Night Sorrow had come out. After fighting for an hour, Night Sorrow had killed a Divine Soul Integration Realm cultivator, and several 9 Emperor's Tribulation Ancient cultivators before retreating. He had consumed a lot of energy. If he continued fighting, his Thousand Realms defense body would not be in its best state. He would be easily injured. You guys continue to wait. Night Sorrow's body flew backward. As he flew backward, he became illusory. The ancient cultivators could not stop him. After Night Sorrow retreated, the remaining 8 cultivators at the Divine Soul Integration realm looked at each other. They were shocked. Under their all-out attack, Night Sorrow had a brilliant battle result. Moreover, he had retreated unscathed. He's at the peak of the 7 Emperors' tribulation. Isn't this a lie? The prostitute cursed. He's not lying. His cultivation level is at this level. However, he's the Merit Emperor. He has 2 forbidden attributes. Moreover, his body cultivation level is beyond the true Qi realm. Black Armor King's expression was solemn. He had grasped several inheritances and knew some things. What do we do? An ancient cultivator at the Divine Soul Integration realm asked the prostitute and Black Armor King. The longer we delay, the harder it will be for us to defeat him. We've reached the point where we can't improve anymore. However, he's not. We're hindered now because we're being held back. The prostitute understood some things. Since he appeared at this time, it's obvious that he's afraid of us attacking together. Everyone, recover as fast as you can. After that, we'll fight. Whether we live or die will be up to fate. Black Armor King then entered a spatial treasure to cultivate. At this time, Night Sorrow had already begun to recover in the Clear Sky Pagoda. He wanted to recover to his peak state before entering the celestial realm. He did not want to give the Ancient Cultivator Alliance a chance to charge into the celestial realm. Chapter 2304. His body cultivation is unparalleled in the world, and his dual taboo attributes are unique. Coupled with the assistance of his emperor-level merit cultivation, the human sovereign has the ability to crush others. Elder Duan said with some emotion after watching the memory crystal ball of Yi Shang's battle. His defense technique is also outstanding. It's a heaven-defying technique that can weaken the attacks of others. Coupled with his tyrannical body, he can ignore many attacks. This is the key to being unharmed in a group battle, said the Heavenly Concubine. Heavenly Concubine, what's Night Sorrow's defense technique? Why can't I understand? King Yawu asked. He was puzzled. He cultivated the 1,000 Realms defense body. It should be at the level of 7 realms. When he uses the 1,000 Realms defense body, there are 7 virtual realms around him. When the opponent's attack enters the virtual realm's defense body, it will be weakened. The Heavenly Concubine felt that there was nothing to hide. King Yawu was Night Sorrow's martial uncle. Elder Duan was also a respected senior. Such a heaven-defying technique. When did he inherit it? I've never heard of this before. Sect Elder Duan was stunned after hearing the Heavenly Concubine's words. When the 2 of us entered the ancient world to see the World Tree, the 1,000 Realms defense body is the World Tree's defense technique, said the Heavenly Concubine. I see. I thought you told him. I remember that one of your ancestors cultivated the 1,000 Realms defense body, and was very successful. At that time, the celestial realm fell, said King Yawu. He had seen the history books and thought that the Heavenly Concubine had taught Night Sorrow the 1,000 Realms defense body. No, he knows that I know this technique. He didn't want to make things difficult for me, so he didn't ask me. He learned it from the tree spirit of the World Tree. I just didn't expect him to achieve it so quickly. King Yawu nodded. He knew that he was wrong. After an hour, Night Sorrow recovered. Then his original body and avatar appeared at the entrance of the space tunnel. At this time, the cultivators of the Allied army had also recovered and were rushing toward the entrance of the space tunnel. Crazy. At this moment, Night Sorrow realized that he had underestimated the madness of ancient cultivators. For the sake of resources, they did not hesitate to sacrifice their lives. I'll kill whoever gets close first, Night Sorrow shouted. Following Night Sorrow's shout, the speed of the ancient cultivators slowed down. Some of them even stopped. This was selfishness. Everyone wanted to fight their way into the celestial realm, but no one wanted to be the target of Night Sorrow. No one wanted to be the first to stand out. Black Armor King and the others were very clear that Night Sorrow couldn't defeat 8 Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators, nor could he do anything to everyone. However, if anyone became Night Sorrow's target, then they would be out of luck. Why are you doing this? You all know very well that I am willing to pay any price to protect the world behind me. If you all want to charge, I will fight to the death. You all will definitely fall. Knight Sorrow looked at Black Armor King, Hor, and the others as he spoke. How many of us can you stop by yourself? The Black Armor King asked sternly. He wanted to strangle Yishang to death right now. It was Yishang who had blocked his path. Even if you all charge in, what can you do? The world behind me is filled with my clansmen. Wherever you appear, I will know. Can you resist my pursuit? If I can't catch you in 10 years, I can catch you in 100 years, or even 1,000 years. How long can you hide? There are some things that you need to think clearly before doing. Knight Sorrow analyzed the pros and cons for Black Armor King and the others. Are you trying to scare us? Hor stared at Knight Sorrow. He was even angrier than Black Armor King because he was the only one left among the 3 leaders of the ancient Profound Ice World. Although he was in charge of the ancient Profound Ice World, the ancient Profound Ice World's strength had been reduced. It was no longer a top force in the ancient world group. Don't yell at me. Don't force me to find someone to attack. I won't attack you for now. Think carefully. Knight Sorrow finished speaking and left. His doppelganger stabbed the blood-chilling, evil-slaying spear into the ground and sat down cross-legged. The current situation was that Knight Sorrow didn't want to fight, and the ancient cultivators didn't dare to fight. Retreat first. Black Armor King waved his hand. He knew that he had to think. At the very least, he couldn't be the one to stand out. The Hor wanted to say something, but he didn't. He didn't want to retreat, but now that the Black Armor King said to retreat, if he dared to say that he would fight, it would easily anger Knight Sorrow and make Knight Sorrow target him. Success. Knight Sorrow knew that his strategy was useful. He used selfishness to make the ancient cultivators not united. As long as they were suspicious, he could buy some time. Seeing that Knight Sorrow had returned, Lin Piaomiao poured a cup of tea for Knight Sorrow. How's the situation? I scared them. If they attacked like a swarm of bees, it would be really troublesome. After all, the unparalleled formation's defense is limited. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. But how long can this scare them? Jun Xuanji, who had been staying here and didn't talk much, asked. There was no real battle and no big arrangements. Jun Xuanji usually didn't have much to do. She wasn't used to talking to seniors. I'm not trying to scare them. The human sovereign has already killed their top cultivators and intimidated them. Anyone who wants to make a move has to think twice. Huang Ling corrected Jun Xuanji. Let's wait and see. Knight Sorrow exhaled. The situation now could change quickly. Maybe the ancient cultivators wouldn't attack, but maybe they would attack in the next moment. No one could predict. His clone guarded the spatial passage. Knight Sorrow's main body relaxed. His chi realm was at the peak of the 7th Emperor Tribulation, but he felt that it was too difficult to go through the tribulation directly. He still needed some time to stabilize. Also, he didn't dare to go. The ancient cultivators could attack at any time. Without his main body, the defense line could be easily broken. Currently, among the 100 races of the Celestial Realm, only King Yanwu, the Heavenly Concubine, and the Grand Elder could fight the ancient cultivators. Moreover, it was a one-on-one battle. Without Knight Sorrow's main body, a large-scale attack by the ancient cultivators would be troublesome. Knight Sorrow went to the base of the god-slaying squad. He drank 2 jars of wine with his brothers and then ordered the god-slaying squad to retreat. Captain, the battle has begun. Let's fight side by side. Long Jin was reluctant to leave. He didn't want to leave Knight Sorrow behind. Knight Sorrow shook his head and said, "Thank you, brothers. I understand all of you. But the next battle will be decided by the defensive formation. If the defensive formation is broken, the 100 races of the Celestial Realm won't be able to hold on." Brother 13, what is the strength of the enemy? No matter who we ask, no one will talk about it. Tianyu stood beside Knight Sorrow and asked. Chapter 2305. Brother 13, you have to be careful. We're brothers for life and we'll live and die together. Although we don't have the strength to fight now, we'll work hard. Knight Sorrow said. I know. Everyone is working hard. You're right. We'll grow and fight together. We're brothers who will live and die together. All right, follow Longjin and Tianyu and leave. Night Sorrow hugged Night Sorrow and nodded to Longjin and Tianyu. Father, be careful. Yi Shaluo, who was in the god-slaying team, bowed to Night Sorrow. Sir, be careful. Lang Li, Jingyu, Lu Yu and the others bowed to Night Sorrow. You're still young and have a long way to go. Stick to your dreams and you'll have a bright future. Night Sorrow patted Lang Li's shoulder. Captain, be careful. Even if we fail this time, we can still make a comeback after we cultivate. Liang Yu looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow patted Liang Yu and Yin Huang's shoulders and left. He then went to the First Army's camp. When Night Sorrow arrived, the First Army's men quickly gathered together. Zhuodong, Lin Yun, take your men and leave. Go to Tianhuang City or Shendu City. You can also go to Xingyue City. Night Sorrow nodded to Zhuodong and Lin Yun and patted Lin Yu's shoulder. Commander, when will you be back? Lin Yu asked softly. Night Sorrow had helped her to wake up. After she came to the First Army, she and Night Sorrow were like siblings. 09 Little Say Net, I'll go back after I'm done. I can't leave now. Night Sorrow said. Commander, be careful. Lin Yu's eyes were filled with worry. She knew the situation wasn't good. I will. Night Sorrow smiled at Lin Yu. Night Sorrow returned to the unparalleled Great Array after the First Army's men left. Sect Elder Duan, Big Sister Xian Heir, Seniors, please make the necessary arrangements. Our men will retreat to a safe area. We'll retreat to Ethereal Imperial City. If the Peerless Formation can't hold on, there's no point for the Heaven Wasteland Army to stay. It's not worth it to suffer losses, Night Sorrow said to Lin Piaomiao and Sect Elder Duan. The First Army and the God-Slaying Squad were Night Sorrow's direct subordinates, and other people's orders did not necessarily mean anything. Therefore, Night Sorrow personally ordered them to retreat. Elder Duan and the Golden Dragon King went to make arrangements. Night Sorrow followed Lin Piaomiao to the Humanitarian League's encampment. When Night Sorrow arrived, Pu Luo was practicing his fist art while the Great Demon King was practicing his swordsmanship. Both of them were very active in their training. After gesturing for them to sit down, Night Sorrow explained the situation. Pu Luo, bring the core members of your forces to the Nine Domains world. I'll make the necessary arrangements, Night Sorrow said to Pu Luo and the others. As for the Humanitarian League, Night Sorrow had thought about the arrangements. The Humanitarian League was a righteous force. Not only would it not affect the Nine Domains world, but it would also maintain the stability of the Nine Domains world. Once the arrangements are made, we'll return. Let's not talk about the men under us. We'll definitely fight alongside the League leader, Yu Zhu said. Alright, go ahead. The men here will retreat. Night Sorrow nodded. The Humanitarian League's men retreated, and so did the rest of the Heaven Wasteland Army. This arrangement was made because Night Sorrow felt that if the defensive line was really breached, these men would be of no use and would suffer unnecessary losses. The men of the various divine beast races also retreated to the Ethereal Imperial City, making it their second base. This was also Night Sorrow's idea. Night Sorrow's idea was that if the defensive line was breached, the first wave of powerful ancient cultivators would not be able to stop them. They would let these men go and avoid unnecessary losses. Then they would set up a defensive line, and not let the ancient cultivators enter the celestial realm endlessly. King Yewu, the elders of the Council of Elders, and the patriarchs of the divine beast races all agreed with Night Sorrow's arrangement. This was because it was a perfect backup plan. After everything was arranged, Night Sorrow, King Yewu, the heavenly concubine, and the others stayed in the living area of the Peerless Great Formation without any worries. Night Sorrow's doppelganger sat at the entrance of the spatial tunnel, and monitored the situation of the ancient cultivators. The Black Armor King and the brothel were in a dilemma. Night Sorrow had already decided to fight to the death. The Black Armor King and the others knew this, so no one wanted to be targeted by Night Sorrow. What should we do? The brothel set up a barrier and asked the Black Armor King. It's not easy. That guy is very difficult to deal with now. Last time when we surrounded him together, we still couldn't kill him. He even killed one of us. The Black Armor King sighed. He had to admit that Night Sorrow's strength was a fact placed in front of everyone. We can't waver. If this continues, we won't have the determination to fight to the death. The brothel said. Then what do you think we should do? We urgently need resources, but we can't really throw away our lives, right? If he catches one of us and bites to death, it will be fatal. If we fail the God-destroying tribulation and die, that's a matter for the future. If we act recklessly now, we will die immediately. The Black Armor King said. Let's call the others over and form a life and death alliance. When we enter the new world, we won't be separated. If we are together, it will be difficult for him to kill us alone. We will go in and start plundering. Once we've plundered enough resources, we will come back. When the time comes, we will divide the resources equally and go back to where they came from. The brothel said the idea he came up with. Original Y version AG head, Harry 5-inch Life and Death Alliance. When we are in their world, we won't be separated. We won't seek to kill the enemy but only plunder the resources. After we return, the alliance will be voided and we will go our separate ways? The Black Armor King repeated the brothel's idea in a low voice. Yes, that's what I mean. The brothel nodded. After pondering for a moment, the Black Armor King felt that it was feasible. He then used his soul to call the other Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators over. They started discussing under the barriers set up by the brothel. Then should we bring our subordinates? A man asked. He was the realm lord of the Fierce Gale realm, Lifeng. He had the most tribulation of 9 emperors cultivators under him. Let's make our own decision. If we bring them along, their lives will be up to fate. We can't do anything about it. As for whether they become cannon fodder or obtain an opportunity, that's their own business. The Black Armor King said. When everyone is discussing with your subordinates, pay attention to the energy barrier. That fella has been observing our movements. Don't let him discover us in advance, and then rush over to bite us. The brothel reminded the other Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators. Lifeng and the others nodded and left. They were all very cautious because they were afraid of being targeted by Night Sorrow. Xiancheng was targeted and died. Another Divine Soul Unity Realm ancient cultivator charged the fiercest towards Night Sorrow. He even cursed a few words. In the end, he was also killed by Night Sorrow. Chapter 2306. Night Sorrow took a look at the poisonous smoke bottle and put it away. He also gave up on the idea of killing them directly, because he said that he wouldn't take the initiative to attack. Martial Uncle, Heavenly Concubine, we might have to take action. Night Sorrow's original body explained the situation to King Yawu and Heavenly Concubine. Then he brought the two to the spatial passage. Are they really going to throw caution to the wind? They should know that you can easily kill them if they do so. Heavenly Concubine looked at the ancient cultivators and said, we underestimated their thirst for resources and their madness. It seems like they won't stop until they die. Night Sorrow smiled bitterly. He had already determined that the ancient cultivators had no intention of retreating. They were still plotting and would definitely attack. It could be in a few days, or it could be in the next moment. Block them. We will do our best to block them. King Yawu said. They will charge. My original body and avatar will block them from the front. You don't have to worry about defense. Just pursue lethality. Night Sorrow said to King Yawu and Heavenly Concubine. King Yawu and Heavenly Concubine nodded. They knew that Night Sorrow's defense wouldn't have a problem blocking the spatial passage. The only problem was the consumption of energy. However, if the two of them attacked fiercely, the other side would be greatly suppressed. Then the pressure on Night Sorrow would be relatively smaller, and the damage he would suffer would be less. Heavenly Concubine, thank you. King Yawu cupped his hands towards Heavenly Concubine. Lord Yawu, you are too polite. Now that we are fighting side by side, there is no need to say these things. Heavenly Concubine was stunned. As a former opponent, she knew King Yawu too well. King Yawu's character was unbending and unyielding. He would rather be injured in battle than take half a step back. But today he cupped his hands and thanked her. It is what I should do. King Yawu shook his head. They are coming. These lunatics are starting to charge. That's good. Night Sorrow finished speaking. His original body also finished speaking and charged out. At this moment, the ancient cultivators had already made their move. Between the 8 divine soul unification realm ancient cultivators, there was a thin black chain connecting them. This was to prevent them from being scattered by the array's energy and getting lost in the array. Of course, this would limit their speed and agility. However, the prostitute had said that dodging was useless against Night Sorrow. They were not as fast as Night Sorrow. The most effective method was for the 8 of them to go all out and attack Night Sorrow head-on. Night Sorrow had decided to take action now, because he didn't want these people to rush to the entrance of the spatial tunnel. That way, all the attacks would converge at the entrance of the spatial tunnel. In a situation where they couldn't dodge, it wouldn't be easy to withstand. Even if they could, the consumption would be astonishing. There was no verbal communication. Both sides knew that they would not rest until one of them was dead. Night Sorrow used the 7 realms defense body, Spacetime realm, and Void Step to kill the 8 people in the brothel. His main target was the brothel. He knew that the change in the situation had started from the brothel. It had started when the brothel had found the Black Armor King. Kill. The 8 members of the brothel began bombarding Night Sorrow with their energy. The spacetime realm hid in the void before reappearing. A spear light struck the body of the brothel. The team was still charging forward. This caused the brothel that had been shot by Night Sorrow to change his expression. If the team continued to charge forward, they could charge into the spatial passageway or past it, but he would be unlucky. Defeat him first. Otherwise, we will be defeated one by one. I will be the first to die. You guys will be the next. The brothel shouted. Night Sorrow's body flashed and dodged the blade of the brothel. Following that, he executed his spear art again. Since they have given up on their flexibility, let's kill them together. King Yawu, who was at the entrance of the spatial tunnel, said. Night Sorrow's clone did not object. He continued to kill his way out. The ancient cultivators had given up on fighting separately. They had lost their flexibility. Although their offensive power was strong, their effectiveness was low. King Yawu and the heavenly concubine were both experts in the divine soul unity realm. They were not afraid of facing any divine soul unity realm expert alone. Now the other party was only relying on their energy bombardment. It was not a threat to them. Instead, the 2's sharp attacks made the brothel and the others feel very uncomfortable. Figures searched. Both parties started fighting outside the spatial tunnel entrance. However, they were still moving towards the spatial tunnel entrance. This was the main purpose and goal of the ancient cultivators. They were not trying to kill Night Sorrow, King Yawu, and the heavenly concubine. They were trying to break through the interception and enter the celestial realm. Merit Dao Domain. Night Sorrow's original body and his clone both executed the Merit Taboo Primordial Dao Domain. They suppressed the brothel and the others before continuing to kill them. Night Sorrow's main target was the brothel. It was the same for King Yawu and the heavenly concubine. They were targeting Night Sorrow. Brothel, come to the middle of us. Black Armor King shouted. He knew that if this continued, the brothel would fall. And after the brothel fell, Night Sorrow's next target would be him. Black Armor King was very clear about this. Therefore, he wanted to let the brothel live. This way, the alliance's strength would not be damaged. It was also in line with his personal interests. The brothel retreated to the middle of the 8 people. Night Sorrow could not attack. No matter which direction he attacked from, the ancient cultivators would attack with their blades violently. They would use their energy to suppress him. Night Sorrow, don't attack forcefully. We will hold them back. If they continue to bombard him, their energy consumption will be greater than ours. King Yawu's soul spirit transmission rang in Night Sorrow's spirit sea. At this moment, the heavenly concubine also looked at Night Sorrow. She had also received King Yawu's transmission. Nodding at the heavenly concubine, Night Sorrow's battle strategy changed. He no longer attacked forcefully. After attacking, he would dodge and change his target. Although the movements of the brothel and the others were restricted, they were still very fast. They kept moving toward the spatial passageway. The ancient cultivator team entered the spatial passageway. Night Sorrow and the other two did not restrict them because the spatial passageway was not big. With a group of people fighting inside, there was little space to dodge. After exiting the spatial passageway, the Tao domains of the ancient cultivators, Night Sorrow, and the others were all in vibrating mode. They did not allow the smoke to touch them. Charge directly. Black Armor King shouted. You can forgive the sins of the heavens, but you can't survive the sins you bring upon yourself. If you take this step, none of you will be able to return alive, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow's voice was very calm, but the Black Armor King and the others were shocked. Night Sorrow's words were not a threat. Instead, they were like an oath and a prophecy. Descend. Suppress. Yi Shang shouted. As Yi Shang said those words, the power of his merit taboo, Tao domain, rose to a whole new level. The Tao domain was filled with the power of the world. This was Yi Shang's word law, augmenting his combat strength. Night Sorrow did not use it in the ancient world because there was no world origin power. Thus, verbal law did not have much power. However, it could be used in the celestial realm. Don't worry about this. Charge directly. Black Armor King was a little scared. He wanted to be as far away from Night Sorrow as possible. The other ancient cultivators were the same. They knew that danger was coming. If they did not avoid Night Sorrow, they would be in danger of dying. XK looks at and use original version. P chapter Yo. Black Armor King and the others insisted on entering the array. Night Sorrow and the others could not stop them. Chapter 2307. Their movements were restricted, and they were being attacked by the formation. This made the Black Armor King and the others feel very uncomfortable. The pressure was great, and the consumption was great. This was fatal to them. Night Sorrow, his doppelganger, King Yawu, and the heavenly concubine were like fish in water. They relied on the formation to defend, and they only needed to consider attacking. The Grand Elder controlled the formation, and used the formation to gather the energy of heaven and earth to attack. He continuously depleted the Black Armor King and the others' strength. The Black Armor King and the others could only rely on the black chains to communicate and charge forward. The prostitute, who didn't have anyone to help her, was constantly attacked by Night Sorrow, King Yawu, and the heavenly concubine. The Black Armor King and the others were focused on their own defense. They couldn't tell which energy came from the formation, and which came from the real person. The prostitute was frightened by the continuous attacks. She kept roaring and shaking the black chains for help. But where was the help? The other ancient cultivators hit her in the middle, but they couldn't block the attacks of Night Sorrow and the others. After a while, the prostitute's body collapsed. Her soul left her body and ran away. She regretted it. She came up with the idea and was targeted by Night Sorrow. In the end, she fell into this situation. Could the prostitute's soul leave her body and run away? The answer was no. Night Sorrow used the human emperor's seal to envelop the prostitute's soul and burn it. Part 6D of Section 6D of the new chapter, The Black Armor King and the others had heavy hearts. Although they didn't see it, they knew something had happened to the prostitute because the chains connected to her stopped shaking. The battle continued. In the time it took to drink a cup of tea, the prostitute's soul was completely destroyed by the fire of virtue. The prostitute is dead. Next. Night Sorrow shouted. The Black Armor King and the others didn't say anything. They continued to charge in one direction. They didn't care if they consumed a lot of energy. Night Sorrow communicated with King Yawu and the heavenly concubine, and set their target on a relatively weaker ancient cultivator. As for the cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors, they couldn't care about them now. They could only let the White Tiger King and the Golden Dragon King intercept them. They did this because the peerless formation couldn't stop the Black Armor King and the others from charging in one direction. They had to attack them effectively before they rushed out of the formation. Fall down. With Night Sorrow's true body blocking in front, Black Armor King and the others had their movement speed slowed down. Another Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivator was killed. Come on, next one. Night Sorrow spoke after killing another one. What Black Armor King and the others didn't want to hear the most was Night Sorrow's voice, because it was a death sentence. Whenever Night Sorrow opened his mouth, someone would fall. The massacre was still going on. The Black Armor King and the others were consuming more and more of their energy. However, they were getting closer and closer to the edge of the unparalleled Great Array. The Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators were very powerful. They relied on the chains to determine their position. They were charging in the right direction and weren't affected by the illusion. Night Sorrow, King Yawu, and the Heavenly Concubine's attacks became more violent. They had to kill one or two more people before the Black Armor King and the others rushed out. That way, the strength of both sides would be closer. The battle was still going on. However, Night Sorrow also made a backup plan. He left a soul imprint on the robes of the Black Armor King and the others. At this time, he was certain that it was impossible to trap the Black Armor King and the others in the formation. The Black Armor King and the others would definitely run away. King Yawu and the Heavenly Concubine were also going crazy. They knew that the Black Armor King and the others weren't far away. They only had a small chance to expand their victory. When the Black Armor King and the others rushed out of the formation area, other than the heavily injured Black Armor King, there were still 4 Divine Soul Unity Realm ancient cultivators. The 5 of them directly burned their essence blood to escape. Night Sorrow's clone chased after them while his true body blocked King Yawu and the Heavenly Concubine. Not chasing. King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and asked, "If we chase now, both sides will burn their essence blood. It's not worth it. My clone will follow and rely on the soul imprint to lock onto them. They won't be able to escape. Let's deal with the other ancient cultivators who entered the formation first." Night Sorrow said to King Yawu and the Heavenly Concubine. Night Sorrow had considered this arrangement. The Black Armor King and the others were crazy. They didn't care about burning their essence blood. If they chased after them, they would have to burn their essence blood too. The consequences would be very serious. In addition, there were still many ancient cultivators trapped in the unparalleled Great Array. If they didn't deal with them, it would be a big problem. If the formation collapsed, all the ancient cultivators would rush in. Can you confirm their location? They won't get lost? The Heavenly Concubine asked. Normally speaking, they won't. There are only 5 of them now. We can deal with them here and stabilize the formation. It's not too late to deal with them slowly. Night Sorrow nodded. Then his true body entered the formation and started killing the other ancient cultivators who entered the formation. There were too many ancient cultivators. There was also the problem of consumption. After half a day, Night Sorrow and the others finally cleaned up the formation. Night Sorrow brought Sect Elder Duan and the others to the living area at the core of the formation. Then he brewed a pot of tea. Let me make a summary first. Then, we can discuss the next plan. Night Sorrow said. Tell us. We'll do it. King Bloodland said. They already knew the results of Night Sorrow, King Yawu, and the Heavenly Concubine. Then Night Sorrow made a summary and gave his opinion. Night Sorrow felt that the ancient cultivators rushing into the celestial realm was a bad thing. However, it was also relative. Now that the Black Armor King and the others had escaped, the unparalleled Great Array would be stable. The remaining ancient cultivators wouldn't be able to break through. In other words, they only needed to think about dealing with the 5 ancient cultivators. That's right. On the surface, it looks like our defense has failed. However, we killed 3 of their Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators. That's close to half of their peak combat power. In fact, we won. King Yawu nodded. Next, we'll completely eliminate the danger at the spatial passageway. Later, let the Heaven Desolate Steel Guards and the First Army come over. We'll bring our men out and kill a few waves. We'll completely defeat the ancient cultivators here. Night Sorrow said. Starting an all-out war. Night Sorrow planned to move out with the ancient cultivators while they were without a leader. He planned to directly engage in a decisive battle and completely eliminate the danger at the spatial passageway. Okay. I'll send the order immediately. Let the men teleport over. Lin Piaomiao nodded. Although the defensive line had been broken, everyone's heart wasn't heavy at all. That was because there were only 10 ancient cultivators at the Unity of Divine Soul Realm at the beginning. However, under the circumstances where the Heaven Realm's troops didn't fall, half of them were killed. These guys are still running. However, they didn't split up. The situation isn't too difficult to deal with. Knight Sorrow smiled. His doppelganger had been using the soul imprint to lock onto the situation of the Black Armor King and the others. Therefore, he could make a clear judgment. Chapter 2308. Yes, let's settle this first. Those 5 guys are now running towards the depths of the wasteland. Among them, the Black Armor King is seriously injured, and the other 4 are also injured to varying degrees. They probably want to go to a place where no one is around to heal. They won't make any big moves for the time being. Knight Sorrow said. Now his doppelganger was far behind the Black Armor King and the others, confirming their direction and intentions. Although they entered the celestial realm, they're scared out of their wits. They won't dare to move recklessly. King Yawu nodded. He felt that the Black Armor King and the others wouldn't dare to move recklessly. They ran into the wasteland to avoid trouble. Then, the Heaven Wasteland Army of the Celestial Realm, the Humanitarian League, and the Divine Beast Clan's troops once again arrived at the spatial passage. What's going on? Let's go to Y. Knight Sorrow, you don't have to fight. You stay here and guard this place. Heavenly Concubine, Elder Duan, and I will lead the troops out to defeat the remaining troops and stabilize this place, King Yawu said. That's fine. If you encounter any problems, Martial Uncle can crush my soul crystal. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow decided not to fight. First of all, the Black Armor King and the others were in an unstable situation. They could start killing and plundering at any time. His original body had to be prepared to fight at any time. In addition, he was in a state of relaxation and consolidation. This way, he would get closer to the tribulation. Tribulation of the 8th Emperor. Knight Sorrow felt that once he entered the tribulation of the 8th Emperor, his combat power would increase a little. He would have a more obvious advantage against the Black Armor King and the others. Knight Sorrow's wife and son were fighting. His daughter, Yi Xiaolei, accompanied him at the spatial passage. Daughter, your elder sister and second brother are married. You have to hurry up, Knight Sorrow said with a smile as he drank the tea made by his daughter. No, I'll accompany father, mother, and aunts, Yi Xiaolei said with a smile. Haha. Your elder sister said the same thing. Knight Sorrow laughed. He was in a good mood. The Black Armor King and the others had escaped, but it wasn't a disaster. Since the Black Armor King and the others didn't move, he wasn't in a hurry. In addition, Knight Sorrow knew that it would be very difficult for Black Armor King and the others to recover without a long period of time. This time was enough for him to enter the 8th Emperor tribulation. As for the ancient cultivators in the spatial tunnel, their levels were generally not high. King Yawu, the Heavenly Concubine, and Sect Elder Duan led the team to clear them out. Father, you can kill Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators. You are already invincible. In the future, you can return to the city in the sky and live a peaceful life. No one will be able to threaten the stability of our world and hometown, Yi Xiaolei said. Her heart ached for her father. Her father had been out fighting all year round, and she knew how much he had sacrificed. Soon, hard work will always pay off. Knight Sorrow nodded. Far away in the heavenly desolation city, Tran Hung and the elders of the Council of Elders were watching Knight Sorrow's battle in the crystal ball. Their eyes were full of excitement, because they knew that after a period of time, the celestial realm would truly be stabilized. Lord Castellan, the young Castellan is too powerful, the elder of the Zhaixing sect said. In the future, he is no longer the young Castellan. He is the human sovereign, Tran Hung said. Hearing Tran Hung's words, the others nodded. Everyone understood what Tran Hung meant. Knight Sorrow did not need to be the young Castellan. Everyone had to follow the orders of the human sovereign. Haha. We are growing so fast. It is true that all the heroes look to the present. Our generation is destined to be recorded in the history books. Our era is the beginning of the glory of the 100 races in the celestial realm, Tran Hung said with a laugh. Yes, your majesty can now kill Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators. After entering the 8th Emperor tribulation, You will have a great advantage. When you enter the 9 Emperor Tribulation, you can try to break the demon imperial city. Qin Qianjie said. Your Majesty, the more successful you are, the more afraid I am. Fortunately, my mistake did not lead to a disaster. Otherwise, even 1,000 cuts would not be enough to atone for my sins. Xiao Jun said with some emotion. When he banished night sorrow to the celestial wasteland, it left a shadow in his heart. Elder Xiao, you are overthinking. My great prophecy technique was effective. I knew that he would be fine, so I did not stop him. So there is no need to think too much. Tran Heng shook his head. He did not want Xiao Jun to bear the pressure. Hearing Tran Heng's words, Xiao Jun heaved a sigh of relief. He knew that Night Sorrow's return was not a fluke. With Tran Heng's attention, Night Sorrow would not fall in the celestial wasteland. We cannot let down our guard. The human sovereign and King Yewu have stabilized the situation. If something happens on our side, we will lose face. Tran Heng said. Rest assured, Your Majesty. Xiao Jun and the others bowed. Night Sorrow's rise made them feel at ease, but they also knew that this was a special time. Night Sorrow was relaxing every day. Other than that, he would give guidance to Yi Xiaolei's cultivation. As for Yi Xiaoluo, Yi Xiaoke, and Yi Lingxi, they followed Lin Piaomiao and Datura out to fight. Night Sorrow's doppelganger confirmed that the Black Armor King and the others had stopped moving in the depths of the celestial wasteland. He knew that they would be safe for a while. At this moment, in a forest deep in the celestial wasteland, the Black Armor King and the others sat facing each other. The Supreme World is indeed different from our ancient world without an origin. Lai Feng said. That's right. It is worth risking our lives to come here. Another ancient cultivator said. Let's hurry up and recover. We have to be careful. The celestial realm is very complicated. The main thing is that there are cultivators who can kill us. If we are not careful, we will die. We have to follow our original plan. We cannot split up or we will be defeated one by one, the Black Armor King said. The Black Armor King said. He was the most afraid right now. He was in his weakest state, and he needed the most time to recover. He understood these people too well. Black Armor King, don't worry. Although we are anxious to get resources, we will not act alone. Caution is the key to success. We can afford the time to recover. Lai Feng said. The others also nodded, but 2 of them glanced at Lai Feng. Lai Feng did have some ulterior motives. With the Black Armor King around, the other 4 would not become Night Sorrow's main target. The group of people entered their respective spatial treasures and began to recover and cultivate. At this moment, Night Sorrow's doppelganger, who was sitting cross-legged, stood up. Why? Because his soul imprint had suddenly disappeared. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow's doppelganger nodded. He understood. There was nothing to be alarmed about. The 5 of them had disappeared, which meant that they had entered their space treasures. It would not be wrong for him to wait here. You guys recover. I will also cultivate slowly. Night Sorrow's doppelganger continued to meditate. Night Sorrow's original body, who was outside the ancient world's passageway, smiled. Then he asked Yi Xiaolei to make a pot of tea. Father is in a good mood. Yi Xiaolei smiled. Chapter 2309. I don't know much about the big picture. As long as you are happy, Yi Xiaolei said with a smile. Haha, you really don't need to know about the big picture. You just need to live happily. Night Sorrow patted Yi Xiaolei's shoulder. He knew that his daughter's personality was the same as Yang Lei's. They were both simple and straightforward. Night Sorrow stayed at the entrance of the spatial tunnel. He analyzed the information sent back by the spies every day. The 3 teams led by King Yewu, Heavenly Concubine, and Grand Elder were progressing smoothly. They completely defeated the ancient cultivators. Most of them were killed. The war had been going on for 2 years in the real world. Everyone in the celestial realm had returned. The area around the spatial tunnel was completely empty. The ancient cultivators didn't dare to come close. Night Sorrow, leave the defense here to me. You can relax and see how to deal with those troublemakers, Elder Duan said. That's fine. Those guys won't come back until they are forced to do something desperate. They won't attack here either, Night Sorrow said. Okay, I will send you a message if anything happens. Elder Duan nodded. Night Sorrow brought the god-slaying team, the first leader, his wife, children, and heavenly concubine to Night Moon Villa in ethereal Imperial City. King Yawu also came. After sitting down, King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and asked, Night Sorrow, what do you plan to do next? I know where those 5 guys are, but I don't want to touch them now. I plan to stabilize myself and pass the tribulation of the 8 emperors first. It will be difficult for those 5 to recover without thousands of years. If I have time, it will be easier to deal with them in the future. If I want to do it, I will kill them. I can't give them a chance to run around, Night Sorrow said. You're right. Let's go and kill them now. If we can't finish them off in one fell swoop, it'll be troublesome if they run around randomly. You just focus on your cultivation. I'll stay here and maintain the connection between Tianhuang City and the ancient world's passageway. If anything happens, I'll be able to make arrangements immediately. King Yawu agreed with Night Sorrow's suggestion. I'll keep an eye on those 5 people. Senior uncle, you don't have to worry. I do plan on going home to rest for a while, Night Sorrow said with a smile. King Yawu nodded. He understood that Night Sorrow really needed to relax. Night Sorrow and his family left the celestial realm and returned to the 9 Domains world. When he arrived at 9 Zones world, Night Sorrow went to the back of Ceiling Sky Hall to look at the world tree. The world tree had grown very tall, and part of its body was already in space. With a smile, Night Sorrow took the teleportation portal back to Sky City. After sitting down at home, Night Sorrow asked Sixth Senior Sister, "How's Medicine Valley doing?" "Very good." Medicine Valley is back on track. It's back to the Medicine Valley we were familiar with, Aoi said with a smile. That's good. Father, how's Night Moon Dynasty? Night Sorrow looked at his father. It's rare for you to come home. You should rest well. Night Moon is doing well. Our Yi family is very strict with ourselves, Yuuyo said. Night Sorrow nodded. He was most worried that Medicine Valley and Night Moon Dynasty weren't developing well and weren't taking the right path. $G dash, there are too many external forces in 9 Zones world. It's inevitable that there will be some conflicts in development. There are some things that need to be restrained. Of course, we can't just tolerate if we're bullied. There's a limit to it. Night Sorrow looked at Yi Nianxiao. Yi Nianxiao had dealt with Night Moon Dynasty a lot. Brother, don't worry. I'll take care of Night Moon's matters. You should relax now that you're home. Yi Nianxiao poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow. That's right. Since we're home, we should take a rest. No matter what, father, let's have a good drink tonight and drink until we're drunk. Yi Shang looked at Yi Wuyo and Father Gu as he spoke. Sure. Then let's drink until we're drunk. Old Man Gu nodded with a smile. After drinking with his family, Night Sorrow went to rest. He had been very tired all these years. Now he could finally see some light. After accompanying his wife for a few days, Night Sorrow boarded the boat on the lake and let it drift with the wind. Sailing the boat on the lake was what Night Sorrow enjoyed the most. It was also the most relaxing. He didn't think about anything else. As the wooden boat trembled, Heavenly Concubine appeared on it. Feel the wind. Night Sorrow sat up and threw the blanket that he had prepared for his family on the boat. That's good. I've never experienced this feeling before. Heavenly Concubine and Night Sorrow were separated by a tea table as they lay down on the soft couch. Tell me the truth. Are you used to the 9 Regions world? Night Sorrow asked. I'm used to it. I've never been this relaxed. When we went to the ancient world, I was thinking about this place. I wanted to drink a cup of hot tea by the lake after the battle and listen to the waves, Heavenly Concubine said. It's good that you're used to it. I hope you can live well, Night Sorrow said. I'm living well now. There are some things that can't affect me. There are some things that you might not be as open-minded as me. When you mention them, you're even careful, but I can face them calmly. Heavenly Concubine turned to look at Night Sorrow with a smile in her eyes. There are 2 things that can affect you. One is Jun Xuanji. You don't like her, but she's my friend, so it's difficult for you to get along with her, Night Sorrow said. It's not difficult. She's her, and I'm me. I'll tell you the second thing. You're worried that when you fight with the Demon Wing Clan, I'll be troubled, right? The celestial realm doesn't have the dangers of the ancient cultivators, so I won't leave the 9 regions world. You don't need to tell me about the Demon Wing Clan, and I won't ask about it. We've fought for 1,000 reincarnations, and it's time for it to end. It's good for both sides. We'll have a new beginning, Heavenly Concubine said. A new beginning. You're right. There are some things that I'm worried about. Come try the tea I made. Night Sorrow began to make tea. I have to drink the tea made by the Merit Emperor, Heavenly Concubine said with a smile. Hearing Heavenly Concubine's words, Night Sorrow's worries disappeared. As a friend, he had always been worried that Heavenly Concubine would feel pressured and unable to get over some things. But now he no longer had that worry. Right, Jujuyin, be careful. I feel that something isn't right, Heavenly Concubine said. I don't quite understand what you're saying. Night Sorrow shook his head. The Demon Wing Clan has records that the Demon Queen will be born with 2 horns. She has 2 horns, Heavenly Concubine said. You're thinking too much. The Netherworld race is all like that, Night Sorrow said with a big laugh. Can you be any more foolish? I naturally have my reasons for saying that. I'm not going to bother with you, Heavenly Concubine said and leaned back on the couch. Night Sorrow was a bit stunned. Heavenly Concubine wouldn't mention this for no reason. If she did, then there must be a problem. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.